Around the HBCU world, Morgan State's 36-yard field goal, lifting the Bears to a 16-13 upset of the year at North Carolina A&T, ending the Aggies' 15-game win streak. Today, North Carolina A&T is in Baltimore with revenge on their minds. The Bears, coming off being shut out at Norfolk State last week, looking for a for the season. They do it again? Find out next. Good afternoon and welcome to Hughes Stadium on the campus of Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. The 6-2 Aggies of North Carolina A&T facing the 1-8 Bears of Morgan State. It's the MEAC Digital Network game on ESPN3. Hi everybody, great to see you this week. I'm Phil Shaner alongside the czar of the playbook, Emery Hunt, and we are looking at the best running back in the MEAC today in Jermaine Martin. This kid is not only the best running back in the MEAC, he's one of the best running backs in the entire country.
Yeah, you talk about running back, you in the MEAC, you're looking at Tariq Cohen, Markel Cartwright, and now Jermaine Martin out of Conway, South Carolina, 5'10", 200 pounds, outstanding talent you see right there. First in yards per game, 16 touchdowns rushing the football, 8.1 yards an attempt. That's impressive, and over 1,000 yards so far this season. He's an outstanding playmaker.
So Morgan State needs to stop the run, and leading the way in that effort is linebacker Ian McBurrow. He's coming off a 13-tackle game last week.
And he's going to have to chase down Jermaine Martin a lot in this ball game. We talk about sideline-to-sideline speed a lot. McBurrow is one of the best in the country.
Morgan State's offense has struggled, only scoring one touchdown in the last 8 quarters. They need help, and Mr. Bailey is the man to help.
You get the ball to Menashe Bailey, and great things tend to happen. They have to find him early, often, and throughout this ball game in the passing game.
It is the 80th meeting between these two teams. Believe it or not, Morgan State has had some success against North Carolina A&T. They've won 8 of the last 11 since 2016. It's the Aggies. It's the Bears. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3.
Thanks, hon. Have fun at work.
Morgan State getting ready to face North Carolina A&T. A few passing clouds, otherwise generally sunny today in Baltimore. The high of 41, winds out of the southeast 5 to 10 miles an hour. North Carolina A&T entering today's game fresh off a huge 22-20 victory over South Carolina State. They are sitting atop the MEAC at 4-1 and 6-2 overall. Norfolk State with a 48-0 rout over Morgan State last week. The Bears fell to 1-8. Sam Washington in his second season as Aggies head coach, 16-14 as a rookie season as head coach. He was named the 2018 MEAC Coach of the Year, leading the Aggies to the MEAC title in the Celebration Bowl victory. Coach Washington, he's from Mississippi Valley State. Tyrone Wheatley announces the Bears' 22nd head football coach in February for Morgan State is 1-8. Previously spent 2 seasons as running back coaches in the NFL for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And of course, Coach Wheatley played at the University of Michigan in the NFL with the Raiders and the Giants. And we are ready to get it underway. Get a chance to see North Carolina A&T, Emery, one of the top programs in all of FCS football.
Yeah, and this is a team that has upset a couple of FBS opponents over the last 4 to 5 years. So they're a dominant program not only in the FCS and MEAC, but also nationally.
Morgan State will have the football first. A&T won the toss but deferred to the second half. This is the 80th meeting between the two schools. Morgan State leads the overall series 43-36-3 since 1930. But the Bears have won 8 of the last 11 against A&T since 2006. Cofield on the return up to the 25-yard line. Across the 25, stays on his feet and gets up to the 28, and that's where this struggling Bears offense will have the football. They only have 1 touchdown in the last 8 quarters after last week being shut out at Norfolk State, 28-0. Let's take a look, or 48-0. Let's take a look at Morgan State, the Bears starters, and we see that Goulette is the starting quarterback. They'll play both Harris and Goulette, and of course Chase, the running back, who has been injured, so they've been going with Johnson and Williams and Parker, and of course Bailey is the wide receiver to get the football to. So take a look. Wes Woolfolk and also White, the wide receivers. That offensive line needs to come together. So let's see what Morgan State can do in their first down. Pressure, the throw. over the head of the sideline and incomplete on that pass. And DeAndre Harris is in at quarterback. Let's take a look at this North Carolina A&T defense. They are one of the best defenses in FCS. Number 1 in the MEAC on total defense, number 1 against the rush. They have 26 sacks this season. They have player makers all over the field. Their secondary is great. McCain, outstanding player. McNeil had a huge interception last week. Wilder, the transfer from South Carolina University, has been outstanding, and these North Carolina A&T Aggies are tough to stop. The running play there gets across the 30-yard line down to the 33. The Joshua Chase with the carry and picks up a couple. But you know that this defense for A&T is so good. So many playmakers, and they put guys in the pros.
Yeah, consistently. Daryl Johnson was a guy that got drafted in the 7th round last year by the Buffalo Bills and had a fantastic preseason. If you're going to beat A&T, you have to win up front, and I think that's where Morgan State has an opportunity.
3rd down for Morgan State and 7. See how they can do on 3rd down. Harris is in at quarterback. He gets the start, and he can run the football. That's something he can do that Galat can't. And Harris gets out of bounds across the 35-yard line down to the 36. So a 4th down coming up for Morgan State. They're going to have to punt the football to North Carolina A&T.
Some seeds of positivity on that series. You didn't get an ill-advised throw. You saw some success up front, and they're going to have to build on that moving forward. But this is a great stop defensively by North Carolina A&T, coming out, getting that quick 3 and out, and putting their offense back on the field.
Well, Morgan State, it's just a coin flip of who's going to start. Is it going to be Harris or Galat for Coach Wheatley? But really, both have not played well enough to move this offense.
Yeah, and they have to play better at that position because they have talent at receiver. They have talent up front and in the backfield. Quarterback play has to improve in order for this team to start to improve.
Pride back to take the punt. He's tackled immediately. No gain after the punt by O'Shea. So let's take a look at the North Carolina A&T offense, which can put up some points. They are number 1 in total offense in the MEAC. Number 1 rushing the football, 235 yards. We already talked about Jermaine Martin, one of the top running backs in the entire country. This offensive line, well, the offensive line, every year it seems that they win the Offensive Lineman of the Year. It's happened 4 times since 2011. The offensive line is very good, and Elijah Bell, one of their top wide receivers, he's 4th in the MEAC with 44 grabs. He's the guy they like to go to when Carter throws the football. We're going to see a lot of Martin. Martin gets the State great. Let's take a look at the holding penalty on the Aggies offensive line.
Call number 79, that's your right tackle, Dante Keys. You talk about their offensive line being one of the best in the conference. Keep an eye on left tackle Marcus Pettiford. He's an underrated tackle right now nationally, but there are a lot of pro scouts that are very interested in his progress throughout the rest of the season because he's a tremendous athlete, good player, has good size at 6'4", 286.
Pettiford, 2-time first-teamer All-MEAC, number 73. And, of course, on that Oakland Raider offensive line, Brandon Parker, he was the MEAC Offensive Lineman of the Year from 2015, 2017, and Micah Shaw won the honor in 2018. Pettiford might be up for that award this year. Carter will keep it himself. He can run the football. Carter across the 30-yard line down to the 31. Carter is kind of amazing. He's thrown the ball this year 201 times, and he's only been intercepted once. Thrown for over 1,500 yards. Carter is a graduate student and an excellent quarterback for the Aggies. Really a great game manager and more. Carter will keep it himself. The 2nd down carry across the 35-yard line down to the 36.
Yeah, Carter is not your average quarterback because he's 5'10", about 230. So he is a big, burly guy. You see they use him in the run game here, coming around left end. And it's a load to bring him down, but he's efficient with the football. You mentioned he only threw 1 interception so far this season, but he's an outstanding leader and great transition from him going to him coming from Raynard, who was their star for 4 years.
3rd and 5. Aggies 38% on 3rd downs this season. Carter to throw for the first time today. Pass is complete and good enough for a first down. Lockhart with the grab. The Naval Academy transfer gets his 12th reception of the season.
And that's an example of an efficient play. He could have taken off and got what he could, but he stepped up into the pocket, showed that he was going to run. He brought Ian McBurrow up and just threw it over his head to a wide open target. So that's the efficiency that you like to see from the quarterback position. That's why he's one of the best in the conference.
Carter to Lockhart was good for 8 yards and a first down for the Aggies in their opening drive. They're hoping that this is not a trap game. They have Bethune-Cookman next week, which could be for the MEAC championship. And another penalty on the Aggies. They average 73 yards a game on penalties.
Four-star offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And Troy Singleton, our referee today, with the call.
That's 2 penalties on this drive by Dante Keys, the right tackle.
There's a look at Sam Washington's second season. Is already the best 2-year start of any Aggies head coach in history. Sam Washington, the longtime assistant defensive coordinator, and then took over, this being his second year. The tradition continues. Martin going nowhere here. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it. Morgan State's strength is their defense. Let's take a look at their defense. They have the linebackers of Kennedy, McBurrow. Washington done a great job. Their secondary with Garnes and Small and Gatling and Trigg. So if you look for a strength for the Bears, it's on the defensive side. There's some talented players on the defensive side of the ball for Morgan State.
Pound for pound, I think their defense is one of the best in the conference. You talk about that back seven. They're athletic. They got range. They do a great job of turning the ball over.
2nd and 14 for A&T. Here comes Martin. Breaks a tackle, and he's into Bear territory. Still on his feet. And there you see Jermaine Martin. That's what he does. Big, powerful, explosive runs. They needed 14. Well, Martin got him 17 and a first down.
It's hard to beat the perfectly blocked play. You saw big number 79, Dante Keys, getting outside and kicking out that block. And great job downfield by the receivers. Zachary Leslie, the outstanding wideout, doing a great job blocking on the perimeter, allowed that run to spring.
Bell with the completion. Bell's 45th catch. He's 4th in the MEAC, 4th in yards. Bell had 11 catches for 107 yards last week against the Bulldogs. It was his 8th career 100 receiving game. Elijah Bell, one of the top wide receivers in the conference, 11-yard pickup and another first down, and the A&T Aggies are on the move. The Morgan 31-yard line for Carter. As you mentioned, perhaps taking over from one of the most successful quarterbacks in MEAC history, and Renard. Short gain there. Baker.
Areno Dendo with that tackle. That's an excellent one-on-one play right there, because he got off that block. You saw him right there just reach around and grab him by the back flap and put him down on the ground.
Dendo had a big game last week when they got blown out at Norfolk State. He had 9 tackles and a half of a sack a week ago. Big number 91, Dendo. So Baker with that short gain, and a 2nd and 8 now for the A&T Aggies, their first chance on offense. This will be their 8th play of the drive. Carter has a man and the completion down to the 18-yard line, and it's Lockhart again, his 2nd catch on this drive.
What they're doing is playing the numbers game. When you spread out those receivers out wide like that, you just count the box, and if 6 guys are in the box, you run the ball. If 5 guys are there, you want to throw it. And so what you're seeing is them step back, read what's going on defensively, and make adjustments off of that. That's just a nice read right there by Carter, getting outside and just throwing another wide open target over the middle of the field.
11-yard pickup, their 4th first down of this opening drive for A&T on offense. Here comes their 9th play. They send Bell in motion, and it's Martin. Martin trips and falls across the 10-yard line down to the 7. Jermaine Martin a week ago, uncharacteristic for him, but he has been outstanding all season long. And you talked about it already. Running back, just the next guy up.
Yeah, you got to have guys in the stable, and this is what a program looks like. You may have 1 or 2 good recruits that you bring in, but to have that consistency and that continuity that A&T has shows you that they have a true program in place, which is why they're successful.
Martin, the 9th different running back in school history to rush for 1,000 yards in a season. Aggies trying to get the first points. There's another penalty marker down as Martin runs off the right side across the 5 down to the 4-yard line. Could this be the 3rd penalty of this drive on A&T?
Undisciplined, what Coach used to say, man. You have to make sure you keep your hands inside and not get outside of the framework of the defender.
Tackle was made by number 4, Simeon Gavin.
Illegal formation on the offense. 5 men lined up in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Coach Washington will not be happy. He's happy with the drive. This is a 9-play drive that's gone 61 yards, but 3 penalties for Coach Washington's team. Again, they average about 73 yards a game on average in penalties.
And that's on a receiver because you're standing right there by the referee, letting him know that, hey, I'm on the line or I'm off the line. If you didn't get that confirmation from the referee, you have to make the adjustment. So that's just a lazy play by the wideout on that side of the field.
The Aggies' only loss in MEAC play was to FAMU. And they lost to Duke earlier in the season against an FBS school. 1st and goal now from the 13, and a whistle blow before the play gets started.
Delay a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
4 penalties now on this opening drive by A&T.
I've never seen a team come out strong yet flat. So they've come out strong running plays, but the flatness comes from these penalties, man. They're backing themselves up, pushing themselves almost outside of the red zone.
One of the storylines, trap game for North Carolina A&T with that potential winner-take-all game next week against Bethune-Cookman. Of course, A&T was upset at home last year against Morgan State, one of the biggest upsets of the season. Here comes the pressure. Carter throws it away, and it's intercepted. Picked off. Oh, my. What a big play there by Perry, the defensive lineman. The big guy, Nathan Perry, gets the pick.
Big number Nathan Perry right there, 6'4", 330. Got his big paws on the football and didn't let that ball go. He was eyeing the end zone, but the way his athleticism and speed is set up, he only got 5 yards.
Big play for Morgan State. We'll be back.
The Chromebook.
Hebburn brought the pressure on Carter, and then Perry with the interception. The 5th interception of the season for the Morgan State defense. Now we'll see if the Bears can take advantage offensively. The big guy, Perry, inserted to that defensive line and comes up with a big play, ending a 10-play, 51-yard drive that took 7:15 off the clock, ended in that interception for North Carolina A&T, featured by those 4 penalties that really slowed them down when they were in the red zone, pushing them backwards.
He caught that interception like he caught that pregame lunch. I don't think I didn't see you catch that sandwich like that, man.
That's how you do it. Perry was there to cover it up. 2nd down and 1 for Morgan State. Loss in the backfield. Chase in the backfield, tackled for a loss. At North Carolina A&T defense, they have some big players. Branch there to make the stop, but that defensive line is good. But their linebackers, guys like Branch and Howard, they fly, and Roberts, they fly to that football.
Trey Smalls was there in on that tackle. He just beat the pulling lineman to the spot, and that lineman was pulling around, but Trey Smalls got in there so quick that he was able to make that stop in the backfield.
Morgan State 35% on 3rd downs this season. The 3rd down for the Bears here. The pass intercepted, picked off. A&T's known to intercept footballs, and that is their 11th interception of this season. And the interception by number 8, Joseph Stuckey, the linebacker, comes up with his 2nd interception of the season.
That's a great job by Stuckey. He just fell back in coverage, and where they fool you defensively is that they have these rovers and these backers, but they're listed at 5'10", 5'11", 205 to 215 pounds. They could run. They're like strong safeties out there, so they can cover the field. Not surprised that he was able to fall back in coverage to the Hillside, New Jersey native, did a great job in just dropping back, getting his hands on the football, and putting him in position to score.
Stuckey's second interception of the season. Stuckey led the team last year in special teams tackles and is doing a great job now as starting on the defensive side. Harris has thrown 11 interceptions this season, and A&T going right to the end zone and incomplete. Looking for Bell, but thrown over his head.
Yeah, Bell is their number one receiver. He's their pro prospect. He's an outside guy, but I think he is home at the next level. He's going to be an inside H-back slot type. He's about 6'2", 225. And you saw right there, that was a nicely thrown ball, but Bell just couldn't accelerate to it. Great closing speed by the Morgan State secondary.
4:36 to go, first quarter. A&T last time drove down the field, but the interception got the ball back to the Bears. Quick pass thrown over the head of the intended receiver, looking for Pride, but over Pride's head.
Yeah, this is a sluggish start for A&T, and this is how you allow a team like Morgan State to build confidence. This is what happened last season down there in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can't allow a team that you are statistically better than to gain that confidence, because anything can happen in football, especially on this cold, brisk day where you have really nothing to play for. You have to come out and firing on all cylinders, and they are not right now.
Carter has only been intercepted twice. That interception last time they had the football, only the second interception in over 200 throws this season. So Carter completes them about 56% of the time. He'll use his legs here and dives down to the 17-yard line. Carter last week, the offensive standout for him. He got the job done. He had put together career highs in passing yards, completion, passing attempts, and total yards in their big win over South Carolina State last week. So he had his most complete game. Reyes will be on for a field goal. Ruiz on for the field goal, 16 of 19. The longest, a 52-yarder. Ruiz's kick. The 34-yarder is up, and it is good. So North Carolina A&T Aggies strike first. They take advantage of the turnover and put 3 points on the board. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3.
Should be quarantined.
Back at Hughes Stadium on campus of Morgan State University, Ruiz made a single season record. Now 17 field goals this season. Ruiz with the 34-yard field goal puts A&T on the board. 4-play, 6-yard drive took 55 seconds off the clock after the interception. So A&T was able to take advantage of the interception. Morgan State had an interception. They were unable to take advantage of that, and it's a 3-0 game. Number 15th ranked team in the FCS, North Carolina A&T, sitting atop the MEAC, tied with Bethune-Cookman. Cofield on the return for more. Can Morgan State's offense get going? Can Morgan State rush for more than 100 yards in this game? Last week, the Bears only ran the ball 31 times and only had 78 yards, and now they're facing the number one defense in the MEAC against the run. So can they run the football today, or how are they going to get the offense going? How are they going to score points?
You have to look at it like this. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So if you're Morgan State, what do we do well? We run the football really well. We have a big offensive line. So you have to really lean on that ground game early. If your quarterbacks are struggling, you want to move the pocket left or right, give them a half field to work with, and that way they get into a rhythm throwing the football.
Morgan State only averaging 14 points a game. That is last in the MEAC. Parker on the carry there gets a couple of yards. Morgan State's only scored 129 points this season.
Here's an example. We talked about on that last series for Morgan State how athletic North Carolina A&T is at the second level with these rovers and linebackers that are built like strong safeties. So you have to put big bodies on small bodies. You have to load up like they are right now and run that football, make them stop the run.
2nd and 8 for Morgan State. Harris throws as Bailey. The completion, but not much of a chance for Bailey to make a run after catch. And a great coverage by McNeil.
I thought Amir McNeil had a bead on that football. I thought he was going to undercut that and take that thing to the house. That was a great job by him. Not only realizing that ball was a little bit too far, but getting back in a good football position and making that tackle on Menashe Bailey.
Bailey's 38th grab of the season. He had 2 catches for 25 yards last week. in a game that really Morgan State didn't show up for. They just got smashed by Norfolk State playing on the road a week ago. They were shut out in that game, and there really wasn't a lot of positive areas for Coach Wheatley to look at. Third down now for Morgan State, 3rd and 5. Harris going to run. Has the first down and more, and slides down at the 44-yard line. A good run there by Harris. Gets the yards he needs to move the sticks.
It's a positive play right there by your quarterback, realizing that all options were covered. Just take off, protect that football, and get down once you have enough. So it moves the sticks and keeps that offense out there on the field.
Harris on an option, kind of an option, at least a ball fake anyway, and fell forward for just a yard or two.
I believe the kids call this nowadays the RPO.
Yes.
Had the guy crash down on the run play, he would have given the football and pulled it out, but he pulled it out anyway, and the next play was to throw it to Menashe Bailey out on a bubble, but they had that covered as well, so he just took it upfield and just got what he could, which was a yard.
2nd and 9 for DeAndre Harris and the Morgan State offense. Harris has the completion to Bailey. Bailey in A&T territory, and those are the positive plays you want to build on. Now into A&T territory, down to the 31-yard line. We said in the open, if you want this offense to get going, get the ball to 13.
Exactly, and that was another example of your cornerback. That was Mac McCain trying to undercut that route again, but Menashe Bailey went up high, got the football, and brought it down for a big gain.
Harris gets it to White. White with a little run after catch, tiptoes out of bounds, but not before he picked up 5 or 6 yards. So now a rhythm here by the Morgan State offense.
Yeah, my old coach used to say, if you're going to gamble, you better come up correct when you make that play, and they didn't make that play, gambling on those 2 interceptions, and it cost them with 2 receptions.
6-yard pickup, 2nd and 4 for Morgan State, working in A&T territory, and there's a whistle before that play got started. And there's going to be the first penalty of the day on the Morgan State Bears.
Run to the snap. False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And Troy Singleton, our referee today with that call. The first penalty on the Bears today. Remember, A&T had 4 penalties on their first offensive drive. There's a look at Trigg. Bryce Trigg, the offensive lineman, the left tackle. So 2nd and 9 after the penalty for Morgan State. The 30-yard line in Aggie territory. Morgan State looking for their first touchdown in the last 8 quarters. And Morgan State needs a timeout to talk about what play they want. We'll step aside as well. 24 seconds to go in the first quarter. Morgan State's driving on ESPN3.
Uh-oh, no Wi-Fi at your in-laws' house? It's switching time. And now it's Netflix time. Watch Netflix offline. Switch to Chromebook.
Morgan State on a 6-play, 45-yard drive, a 2nd and 9 from A&T's 30-yard line for DeAndre Harris, who's 3 of 5 today for 35 yards. Has been picked off once. Harris in the backfield. Here comes the pressure. Down goes Harris, sacked. Sacked at the 35-yard line. Sack number 27 on the year for A&T. They get after the quarterback.
That was a cover sack because all options were covered deep downfield. The offensive line held up pretty well, but no one was open deep down the field, short down the field. Nothing was there for Carter, and he had to eat it. I'm sorry, Harris, and he had to eat it.
Williams had the sack, his 3rd sack of the season. And that is the end of the first quarter. 3rd and 14 coming up for Morgan State. The Bears are trying to score their 2nd touchdown in the last 12 quarters. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3.
Switch to booting up as fast as 6 seconds. Switch to Chromebook.
If you're in the library today at Morgan State, come on, have a study break. Come to Hughes Stadium. The Bears need you. It's a big 3rd and 14 for Morgan State on the Aggies' 35-yard line. The completion made there to Bailey. Bailey makes a man miss and gets a first down run. He's the go-to guy. Bailey's 3rd catch. Harris took a hit, but Bailey was there to grab it, and nice run after catch.
I thought that was a great throw by Harris. He was under pressure. He threw a dart, and just a great individual effort afterwards by Bailey.
15-yard pickup on that pass play. And now they keep it on the ground inside the 10-yard line. Good run there by Parker. Parker, 14-yard pickup. And now a 1st and goal for the Bears. Looking for a touchdown. They need 6. Give it back to Parker. A couple yards, pushes the pile up to the 7-yard line.
Coach Wheatley is really high on Iman Parker, the true freshman coming in. He's 5'6", 155, and you expect him to continue to grow within that body. By the time he leaves here, he's going to be 185, but they love his vision. They love his ability to run through contact and also his ability to make guys miss in space.
There was a look at Gervette. Big 6'4" target, possible target in this short yardage situation here with a 2nd and goal from the 7. Harris going to keep it himself around the outside. Gets across the 5 down to the 4-yard line. So Harris on the keeper. They definitely need a play that they can get into the end zone for confidence, especially when you're going up against a team like A&T. When you have this opportunity, they need to make sure they can get 6. They don't want to settle for 3.
In this situation, you got to think players, not plays. So I'll be looking for number 13 in this scenario to get the football.
Bailey with 3 catches here today. Harris throws, looking for Bailey, and incomplete. Threw it to the backside. But that was the guy they were looking for. Why not? He is one of the top receivers in the MEAC and one of the most dangerous weapons that Morgan State has offensively.
Yeah, there were miscommunication right there as he ran the stop route. Harris, I thought, correctly threw the fade, but just a miscommunication between the receiver and quarterback. But again, in that situation, you're thinking, who is my best player? Let me get the football to my best player and not worry about play. So I thought it was a great call by the offensive coordinator, Travis Manger, getting his guy involved.
Nick O'Shea on now for a field goal attempt. The 22-yarder. O'Shea 10 of 13 this season, kicking field goals. Kick is up.
Did I mention it shows you photos?
Magnificent marching machine on Military Appreciation Day at Hughes Stadium. Morgan State looking for back-to-back wins over the 2-time defending HBCU champs, North Carolina A&T. It's 3-3 after a 13-play, 70-yard drive. Took 5:18 off the clock, and Nicholas O'Shea with his 11th field goal. Good from 22 yards out, and it's a battle of field goals in this one. 3-3 game between the Aggies and the Bears. A&T getting ready to get the football back. On the return. Some good starting field position up to the 34-yard line. On the return for the Aggies, Joe Stuckey. Or Cook on the return, sorry. We have an injured player. And we'll step aside with 13-14 to go here in the second quarter. 3-3 game. We'll stay here. Look at Tyrone Wheatley. Good article about Coach Wheatley in the Detroit newspaper today, talking about him and guys that he brought with him, and Alexander and Carr, 2 guys that he played with, his teammates at Michigan. He said he wants to make Morgan State his Michigan. And really a fine article there discussing what he feels he needs to get this program turned around. And it looks like the 3 of those former Michigan players, they're here at Morgan and they want to get this program right.
And that's the type of mindset you have to have. That's how you build a program. You come to a place and you see opportunity, and they see opportunity here. We talked about this before we went on air, how good of a program Morgan can be. You look at the facilities, you look at the stadium, the support they've gotten in this community. Morgan, I think, is a sleeping giant, and it's good to see a coaching staff come in, acknowledge that, and want to build here. And I think they can have what North Carolina A&T has already, and that's a good football program that's sustainable, that's able to travel up and down the divisions and the subdivisions and win. And I think that can happen here at Morgan as well.
Johnny Woodbury, the injured player for Morgan State, at the 13-14 mark in a 3-3 game. Now on the other side, North Carolina A&T, boy, they're looking to win their 11th MEAC title in program history, and they've won the MEAC back-to-back years. They won the Celebration Bowl. Since the Celebration Bowl has started, they have all but 1 year have been a part of it, and they hope to get back there again this year to be a part of it for 3 straight years. What a dominating program North Carolina A&T is.
And they do it on both sides of the ball, and they also are not only just a good football program, but they're producing pro players, and that's the hallmark of a team that you do not want to play if you're an FCS team or an FBS team.
All they do is make chicken. We'll explain that throughout the day. Pretty great quote. One of the things that they like to do is, again, the consistency. And they certainly have their program going in the right direction. Penalty marker down before the play could get started.
Speaking of food, do you know what Menashe Bailey's nickname is?
Oh, boy. Maybe Mac for mac and cheese?
Nacho.
Oh, Nacho. I like it.
4-star, offense, 74. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So 5 penalties now on A&T. That is uncharacteristic.
The reason why they were calling him Nacho when he got here, the players couldn't pronounce his first name.
They should have told us that 3 years ago. We'd be calling him Nacho for 3 years. That moves him back 5 yards, 1st and 15. And there's the carry by Jermaine. Martin gets back to the original, or Baker there on the carry, I'm sorry. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage for Baker. So Baker's a much different back than Martin. Baker's one of those quick, faster guys. Kind of reminds you of someone that's playing.
Defense, number 90, 15 yards, automatic, first down.
Oh. So Dunjay, unsportsmanlike conduct, he'll leave the field. And you don't want to see that because he's been playing great the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's been a big playmaker up front, man. You can't allow yourself to cost your team that many yards.
Gives him the first down. Carter with the pass. Incomplete. Great effort trying to make the completion, but unable to by Bell. Well, Bell stayed with it for a while, but he just couldn't hold on to it.
This is a great job in coverage by Jordan Johnson. He was able to use that 6'2" frame to bat that ball away. You're right.
He
almost had that reception off the camera.
That is great concentration by Bell.
Hand-eye coordination is key, man, if you're going to play that position at a high level.
Bell's been outstanding, but actually the leading receiver last year was Zachary Leslie. Another great wideout that they have at 6'3", 203 pounds. He has 30 receptions on the season. He led the team in catches a year ago. There is Baker, gets the Aggies into Bear territory at the 49-yard line. Rico Kennedy made the stop for Morgan State after the 3-yard gain.
It's so hard when you have those squatty running backs like that, because by the time you find them, it's a little bit too late. They're already at the second level, approaching the third. So having those shorter running backs when you have a tall, lanky defensive front seven, it's always an advantage.
3rd and 7 from the 49. A&T 1 and 2 on 3rd down so far today. Crossing route has the completion and the first down and more. Oh, what a big hit to knock him out of bounds, but the catch was made by Lockhart. Lockhart's 3rd catch of the afternoon and a first down.
So it was a great job by A&T as you listen in on this hit that was coming into your living room right here, just boom. But they took advantage of the miscommunication on the defensive side of the ball at the second level for Morgan State. You saw the linebackers pre-snap trying to get each other on the same page. They just ran a low crosser right past them for the first down.
DJ Trigg was the one layering the boom on Lockhart. Sounds of the game there. Carter to throw, time, looks down, ball is knocked down. A great play there. Some pretty good secondary, and there's Carl Garnes on, of course, the coverage, and Carl's done that a lot. Great defensive player.
He might be the most polished defensive back they have on this roster. Coach told us prior to the season that he's a guy that can play any position on defense, and Garnes, 6'1", 200 pounds, they have him locked up right now on Elijah Bell, and I thought Bell had a step. That ball gets put out in front. It may be a touchdown, but just a great job by Garnes being in the vicinity to bat that ball away.
2nd and 10 for the Aggies. Give to Baker. Tackled in the backfield for a loss. Great job, great pursuit there by the linebacker, Hebron, coming up to make the stop. And boy, has this redshirt sophomore played big this season. We knew Kennedy, we know McBurrow, we knew Washington would be there, but Hebron has come on and played big for this defense.
And that's a hard tackle to make, man. A guy running full speed, trying to dip his shoulder and get you to bite on it, to make that play in space. It shows you the talent that they have across that second level for Morgan State.
Now a 3rd down and 16 from the 43 for A&T. Carter. Time to throw. Here comes the pressure. Throws center of the field. Has a wide receiver, but in coverage. That's going to be pass interference because he did not turn around. Gatling on the coverage, but it hit Gatling right in the back. He never turned around.
And quarterbacks continue to get rewarded for bad throws. That was a bad throw where the ball hit him in the back, but you have to turn around if you're the defender, because if he turns around, that ball hits him in the esophagus. It was right there thrown to where it should be.
Number 4, 15 yards, automatic, 1st down.
So they were looking for Leslie that time, the first target on Leslie today, and Gatling called for the pass interference, and that'll give A&T a 1st down on the pass interference call and keep their drive alive. A 3-3 game, 10:44 to go here, 2nd quarter. Battle of field goals between a team with only 1 win this season and a 6-2 team ranked in the top 20 in the country. Carter has the completion of Baker out of the backfield. Not much there. So the Morgan State defense again making big play after big play.
When I talked about polish, I'm talking about Carl Garnes. You watch him fight through this block and make the receiver make the tackle. So just a great job by him staying relentless. And that's the type of player that Coach Wheatley talks about that he wants on that football team. Garnes used that block as a way to get to the ball carrier and made that stop behind the line of scrimmage.
Tackle for a loss, and it was just basically Garnes' forearm, which was enough to bring him down.
I like how Khalil Carter is reading the field. He's seeing the field really well, especially late in the play. He just has to set his feet and deliver a more accurate pass because he's seeing the field perfectly.
Carter completes 56% of his passes, only had 1 interception coming in today, threw an interception, so now 2 on the season. A&T goes to the ground. Martin on the carry. Gets it to the 25-yard line. So Martin had a little bit of a break. Baker was in, got a couple of carries, but now Jermaine Martin, the 1,000-yard rusher, back in. 16 touchdowns this season. We showed you his numbers nationally, and of course, atop the MEAC, one of the top rushers in all of the country.
8.1 yards a carry doesn't even make sense. That's how great of a back Jermaine Martin is.
3rd and 7 now for the Aggies. It's a big 3rd down, 38% on 3rd downs this season. Carter, here comes the pressure, has to get rid of it, and it's intercepted. The 2nd pick of the game for the Morgan State defense. And the interception on the return. This is something that Rico Kennedy on the move. This is what the Morgan State team needed, their defense to come up and make a big play. And how about 1 interception the entire season, 2 interceptions here in the first half. Carter, Rico Kennedy picks him off. Kennedy's 2nd interception of the season.
And that's a situation where he's trying to avoid taking a hit and just threw the football without seeing where he was throwing the football, and that's how you get an interception if you're Rico Kennedy. And with a great job just flipping the field for Morgan State, putting his offense in a great situation to come away with points.
Not only does Rico Kennedy lead the MEAC in tackles and 3rd in tackles for a loss, that was his 2nd interception of the season after that big hit that Carter took by Colby Warrior.
Warrior came off that edge, perfect name for a defender, to lay that hit to force that ill-advised throw, and Rico Kennedy was able to clean up and bring it back the other way.
So now could the Morgan State offense cash in on that big interception and return by Rico Kennedy? Joshua Chase gets the carry, gets 3 yards, a 2nd and 7 coming up. So Rico Kennedy, a man of many hats, not only is a student and a college football player, he's a father, husband, and the 2nd child is on the way. So he has a lot of responsibility and gets the job done. A man of many hats and one of the top defensive players in the entire MEAC. Harris throwing, looking, has the catch down to the 1-yard line. What a great grab, but they're going to say no. Gravett was not in bounds. Gervais incomplete as he caught the football but wasn't able to stay in. Let's get another look at it.
See, he was bobbling that football, but I thought he came down in bounds.
Yeah, I like 1 foot. Let's get a look at this play
there.
right
That's
there.
a catch.
Let's see what it looked like.
And they're going to stop and take a look at it because that was a great grab.
When we looked at Gervais, he's a big target. 18 catches this season, 6'4", the sophomore. 228 yards receiving. That was a pretty nice thrown ball by Harris right to Gervais.
Yeah, that was probably the best pass I saw Harris throw this season because he had to put touch on that ball down the sideline in between 2 defenders, and he was able to layer that thing in perfectly to the outside shoulder, and Gervais got that right foot in bounds before that left foot touched out of bounds.
So we're under review. So the play's up to the review booth, and they'll see if they can get this right.
Catch.
Yep, and then foot, and then the second foot out of bounds. But, of course, this isn't Sunday. It's Saturday, so you need 1 foot in, and it's good to go. NFL, that wouldn't have been a catch. College, you need the 1. Clearly had it, right? He clearly had the catch, established the catch, and then got that 1 foot in bounds. So Morgan State could be setting up with a 1st and goal on Military Appreciation Day for the 1st and goal on the 1 yard line after the Harris to Gervais, originally called incomplete. They said he was out of bounds and didn't get a foot in, but the play is under review. We'll wait for the call here from Antroy Singleton.
After further review, the ruling on the field is reversed. The ball was caught at the 2-yard line, 1st and goal.
So that's a huge play for Morgan State. After the interception by Rico Kennedy, they need to cash in and they need a touchdown. We'll have the football 1st and goal at this 2-yard line, and take a look at this very nice thrown ball by Harris, and then a great catch by Gervais.
And Gervais with a great piece of awareness, knowing where you are on the football field, knowing how much room he had to play with, was able to get that 1 foot in bounds and haul in the reception at the same time.
So Morgan State trying to get their first touchdown in 8 quarters. Shutout last week. Looking for 6. Joshua Chase into the end zone. Touchdown, Morgan State. Joshua Chase, a 2-yard touchdown for his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for the senior from Washington, D.C.
That's just a great job up front by Morgan State. You saw that entire left side of that offensive line just wash that entire right side of the defensive front of North Carolina A&T one way, cleared a huge lane for Chase to squirt right through, and his toughness was able to power him across the goal line for 6.
O'Shea on for the extra point. Morgan State takes the lead on North Carolina A&T after the interception by Rico Kennedy, going 4 plays, 20 yards. The Joshua Chase 2-yard touchdown. O'Shea's extra point is up, and it is good. It was one of the biggest wins in program history for Morgan State last year, a 16-13 upset win at North Carolina A&T. Can they do it again? Joshua Chase puts them on the board. Military Appreciation Day at Hughes Stadium, and the Bears showing support for the military. Veterans Day on Monday, and the Bears with a 10-3 lead over the leaders in the MEAC, North Carolina A&T. 4-play, 20-yard drive after Rico Kennedy's interception, and Joshua Chase scoring his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. The drive just took 56 seconds after the Rico Kennedy interception and return. And it's 10-3. O'Shea, kick it away. A&T on the return. Cook, good return. So good starting field position after the nice return by Cook. For A&T down 10-3. Rico Kennedy out there on kickoff coverage. Nothing is too big for him. The man of many hats. The father, the husband, the student, and an outstanding college football player at Morgan State.
59 yards away for A&T. That was an excellent return.
It was. Of course, they do not have a return for a touchdown this year, and that's a rarity because last year they had one player who had 4 kickoff returns for a score. That's something they pride themselves. They've always had great return men for North Carolina A&T, and Martin with the handoff gets a couple of yards, and Ian McBurrow was in there on the stop. McBurrow had a huge game last week, 13 tackles and a sack. Trigg also on the stop. Jermaine Martin.
Starting to see real good gap discipline up front by Morgan State. They're starting to take advantage of these bigger offensive linemen trying to pull. So it's going to be up to A&T to go outside to the perimeter to try to find some success.
McBurrow fourth in the MEAC in tackles. 2nd and 8. Carter throws it, has the completion to Leslie. Leslie with the catch. And a couple of yards after catch. That was an athletic play by Leslie, the big 6'3" target, the redshirt junior.
Yeah, basketball season already started, but you saw a nice post up right there by Zachary Leslie, using that 6'3" frame like you talked about to out-muscle Carl Garnes for that reception.
Only 2-inch difference there. Carl Garnes listed at 6'1", but that was good positioning by Zachary Leslie with his first catch of the game for Leslie, 31 catches on the season. Here comes Martin on the run, and Carl Garnes hits him and puts him down right at the line of scrimmage. So Carl Garnes already here in this first half has made some big plays, some big tackles in the backfield. He's taken down Baker, and here taking down Morgan.
Yeah, and he makes the tackle, but you got to like how number 54, Richardson, made that play. He forced Jermaine Martin to bounce outside even more so by attacking his outside leverage. So
second 10, Morgan 40, and down to 10. Carter throws high and incomplete. So Carter, who came into this game with just 1 interception, has been picked off twice in this game. Was looking for Hunt, who's back from injury, and it was over Hunt's head.
You see what I'm saying? He's making great reads. He's seeing the field well, but he just has to get his feet settled to where his passes will be a little bit more accurate going down the field. That was a great read, you know, making things happen outside of the pocket, but you got to be a little bit more under control when you're making those throws.
Hunt has been out all season with a hamstring injury, and Aggies have him back. Penalty marker flies, and nearly another interception, and then a completion coming back. Wow, what a play there. Hunt almost had the catch, but before that there was almost the third interception of the game thrown by Carter, and there's a penalty marker down at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, he saw Hunt late in that play. He was wide open for a while.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the defense. Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 65 has been declined. Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 90 will be accepted. 15 yards, automatic, first down.
So that's on Dunja. Hands to the face. And take a look. Garrett, number 65, called for hands in the face.
Yeah.
And then number 90, Dunja, called for hands to the face.
Yeah, you saw his pull the helmet off halfway of the North Carolina A&T player. That's his second personal foul penalty.
1st and 10 for the Aggies on penalty. From the 25. Penalty marker flies before Carter could start the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense.
Coach Washington is going to be upset looking at this film and seeing the pre-snap penalties that this team has had.
6 penalties in this first half for A&T. Yeah, that is going to upset Coach Washington. MEAC Coach of the Year a year ago led his Aggies to a 2nd straight MEAC title and the 2nd straight Celebration Bowl victory. Martin, here he comes, in space, spins and down to the 20-yard line.
Remember I talked about their left tackle, Marcus Pettiford? Watch this block he puts on that left end. That's what you call a great seal block, as you get out on that outside shoulder and turn that guy around. Just a great job in blocking out Ian McBurrow, allowing that lane to be there for him.
Carter going to keep it himself on the inside. Well played by the Morgan State defense. Teague made the stop. That was a great play by Teague to get Carter from behind and then hold on.
Because if he didn't, you saw Carter had free reign to the end zone. That was a well-blocked play for A&T.
There was a huge hole there. I mean,
big gaping hole.
And if Teague wouldn't have got him from behind, Carter was probably thinking, oh, I got myself an easy touchdown. He saw nobody in front of him, and Teague luckily grabbed him from behind. Third down now for the Aggies. Carter falling forward and nothing there. Trying to get close to the first down sticks, but he's going to be short. So fourth down, decision time for Coach Washington and the North Carolina A&T Aggies.
I love that quarterback power play, man, because you're getting those two big linemen around using your quarterback as a third rusher.
Carter goes for it here on fourth down. Carter straight ahead. They're 1 for 1 this year on fourth downs, and they're 2 for 2. So Carter with no problem going over his center, Wilson. Wilson's a guy, a redshirt sophomore, but the Aggies coaching staff is really high on. This offensive line is always good. Again, the Aggies have won the Offensive Lineman of the Year award 4 times since 2011.
They are a good front, man. They can block downhill. They block east and west really well. Just impressive how consistent they are on both ends of offense.
First and 10 from the 14 with 4:05 to go before the half. Martin trying to get outside, and they won't let him. Ian McBurrow was there to make the stop. That's just a great open field tackle by Ian McBurrow.
Yeah, in today's game of football, you have to be able to run. And you have these linebackers that are built like the old school strong safeties. They're about 6'1", 6'2", 230, but they can run sideline to sideline really well. Just a great job by McBurrow playing inside out and making that tackle.
2nd and 11. 3:35 to go before the half. We'll talk to Dr. Edward Scott, the director of athletics at Morgan State, coming up at the half. Also show you the MEAC standings and scores from today from around the MEAC. Carter going to run it. Carter tackled down to the 8-yard line. They are doing a great job just spying Carter to make sure that he can't break free through big plays. And that was Ian McBurrow, again, who was blocked, fought off his block, and made the tackle.
Yeah, and they were trying to bait him to throw that ball in that cover 2 hole between the corner and safety. They had a guy drifting underneath. It would have been an interception, but great decision by Carter to hold tight, to hold the ball, and get what he could on the ground.
3rd and 6 from the 10 for A&T. Trying to tie this game, down 10-3. The Aggies have scored 119 second quarter points, being shut out here in this quarter by the Morgan State Bear defense. Carter throws to the end zone. Touchdown, Aggies. The touchdown catch by Zachary Leslie, his 4th touchdown of the season. Carter with his 10th touchdown pass of the season.
And you see what happens when his feet are set. This is an accurate throw right there. Good setup in the pocket, great protection. He just fires a dart to the receiver for a touchdown. And again, when he sets his feet, he already has the great decision making, and that's why his passes are so accurate. So you saw him settle down on this drive, get some good completions, and move this offense down the field, and ultimately got them a touchdown.
Marie's on for the extra point. The kick is good. 11-play, 58-yard drive, took 5:25 off the clock. Zachary Leslie with the touchdown catch from Carter, and we have a tie game.
Do photos?
Southeast wind 5 to 10 miles an hour here in Baltimore, Maryland. Some clouds, a little bit of sun, a high of 41. Tie football game, 10-10. Number 15th ranked team in the country in town. North Carolina A&T. Morgan State coming off a upset win last year on the road at North Carolina A&T. Carter to Leslie, 10-yard touchdown. Ties the game 10-10 with 2:31 to go here in the second quarter. Morgan State get the football back and try to answer the A&T touchdown. On the return, up to the 30-yard line. The 2019 MEAC Volleyball Championships is coming up in 2 weeks, November 22nd through the 24th at Howard University's Bear Gymnasium. Howard's the 4-time defending champ, and the Bison and North Carolina A&T State are the class of the MEAC so far this season. Sunday's championship match will be broadcast live on ESPNU at 8 o'clock on Sunday, November 24th. The MEAC Volleyball Championships happening in 2 weeks at Howard University. So the end of the fall sports season is happening, and the start of the winter sports season is underway with basketball and the winter sports starting. Morgan State playing this afternoon in Philadelphia. Temple in a basketball game. The men's side. The girls played last night. 10-10 game. 1-8 Morgan State Bears against the 6-2 A&T Aggies. North Carolina A&T 147 yards of total offense. Morgan State 108. Bailey on the reverse. Has running room. Bailey on his feet into Aggie territory and finally stopped at the 43-yard line. There's a play I like.
Yeah, it was a nice little end around right here where you influence the running back going to the left side. You get your best player of the football on the outside. It's a flag that may bring this play back, but a good play call once again by their offensive coordinator, Travis Manger.
Offense, number 8, 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Well, that's what upsets Coach Wheatley and his coaching staff. After you have a play like that, you get the ball to your best player. He has a big run, and then there's that miscue, that penalty that wipes it all away.
And that flag came out late, so I thought it probably was going to be a face mask. But if it came out late, that means you're blocking well below the play. Oh, yeah, he almost pulled off his jersey, so that's why you saw the flag come out a little bit late. But
that is Gervette, number 80, with that big catch down to the 2-yard line there. With the penalty, Harris on the run.
It's a pretty good run right there by DeAndre Harris.
And there's a timeout on the field. Player is down. And that is Gervette, the injured player for Morgan State Bears.
You see him right there blocking on the outside. Just kind of got rolled up on by the Aggie player. He was doing a good job blocking once again, but you got to keep your feet moving, they tell you, and he just kind of got rolled up on him. It's always not what you want to see. But you like how Morgan State is coming out here offensively and you know, just relying on their offensive line. I think that has been their hallmark, not just under Coach Wheatley, but under every coach they've had. They've been able to lean on that offensive front. You had Josh Miles get drafted last year by the Arizona Cardinals. So you produce some good linemen and develop some good linemen here at this program. So that's one way they can have some success in this offense, in this program, by leaning up on those guys up front.
You see the injury, Gervette. Obviously, a lot of pain. Looks like they're working on his ankle. Well, a champion will arise in the 2019 Celebration Bowl. The champs of the MEAC against the champs of the SWAC will meet at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday, December 21st. To fight for the Black College Football Championship. The game will be broadcast live on ABC starting at 12 noon. Visit thecelebrationbowl.com for more information. And North Carolina A&T, a 3-time winner of the Celebration Bowl.
And I've been to 3 Celebration Bowls myself. I was at the first one where they beat Alcorn State. That was a Tariq Cohen game where he ran for nearly 300 yards. I was there when they beat Grambling in what was a classic. It was for the Black College National Championship game where we saw how great of a lineman Parker was. I thought he was the MVP in that ball game. So A&T offensively playing in that bowl game, which I think is a great deal for both the MEAC and SWAC, it just puts on a showcase for Black college football on the national level.
Of course, former Aggies coach Rod Broadway got things started winning those championships. And he retired, and his defensive coordinator, Coach Washington, took over, and it's been the same. A lot of success. Big completion out of the backfield for Morgan State. Catch there made by Johnson. So Johnson out of the backfield gets his first grab of the game.
I think Harris is starting to settle down throwing the football. A couple of nice throws here in the last 2 series has really gotten him into a groove, and I think it's slowly starting to open up their offense a little bit more.
You know what last week was for Harris? It was a nightmare. 3 of 10 for 17 yards and 2 interceptions.
Yikes.
But he has definitely shaken that off. He's played well here. 5 of 9 this half. Big play there goes to A&T territory. Right back, the same play to Johnson.
Same play. If you're going to come off the edge like they do, North Carolina A&T, that running back free reign to release is going to be wide open every time. I love that cat call. If those guys come, you just release. Don't worry about blocking them. We just throw it right to you.
1st and 10 from the Aggies' 37-yard line. Harris is going to run it. Makes a few men miss, and not bad there. Was stepping and turning and juking to get a couple of yards.
Right now, A&T has to settle down defensively. They're getting a little bit scrambled in what's going on. Get set, get a line, and just play assignment sound football. But you have to like how Harris is starting to grow into this quarterback position at this juncture of the season.
Under a minute to go here in the first half. Harris going to run again. Gets out of bounds, very close to a first down. Great run there by Harris, directing traffic and finding his way out of bounds with 50 seconds to go in a tie game here before the half. 10-10 game, and Morgan State would love to go into the locker room with a lead.
For all players out there, it just takes one positive play to happen, then you start to stockpile positive plays one after the other, and that's how you have sustained success. So we're seeing the best of DeAndre Harris right now in this ballgame. Very impressed with how he's handled the situation. The moment 50 seconds left, he has his team driving and in scoring position. Let's see if he can capitalize with points at the end.
Running on the field, the one made the line of the game, first down.
So he gave him 7 yards and should be a first down run for Harris to move to sticks. So they're going to take a look at it to see if he got the yards he needed for the first down. So the Harris run is under review. They'll take a look at it with 50 seconds to go here in the first half in a 10-10 game. And here is Harris running. Did he get enough for that first down? Where did he go out of bounds?
I think he went out of bounds just a half-yard past the sticks. Because what kills the view here is that the guy on the sideline that's holding the sticks dropped and got out of dodge right away. So they couldn't get a visual gauge on where he was. But if you look at it right here, that ball is right underneath the E in the MEAC. And I thought he got just past that E before he stepped out of bounds. Good athleticism right there on the side by the young lady getting out of harm's way.
Well, here we are. So when Coach Washington says, hey, I want to review to see if that was a first down. You know, he was the one that was in the referee's ear. Now all of a sudden you're playing a 1-8 team and you're in a 10-10 game. So now you know they're in for a ball game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to say, hey, did he get that yard needed for a first down at this point with 50 seconds to go before the first half?
After further review, the rule that the runner reached the line of the game has been confirmed. First down.
So there you have it. They, of course, give him the first down. The first big review was the Gravette catch down at the 2-yard line. Originally was said to be an incomplete. They changed that on review, and here they get the first down. So 50 seconds to go here before the half for Coach Washington's team in a 10-10 dogfight here against a 1-win team in Baltimore. Morgan State, who for some reason has had the Aggies number in this series. They've won 8 of the last 11 since 2006. Harris goes to the end zone. Bailey's wide open. Touchdown, Morgan State. Oh, how do you leave 13 that open? And how about a chest bump for the Bear by Bailey?
That's an excellent job by Harris. Again, starting to settle in. What happened? They brought that low crosser underneath that sucked that safety in and allowed Menashe Bailey to streak right down the seam, and Harris put a dart on him for the touchdown. Just an outstanding play by Bailey. Even better play by Harris, who has started to play really well in the back half of this game. He's doing a great job today distributing the football to all of his targets.
6th receiving touchdown of the season for Bailey. Harris, that's his 7th touchdown of the season. The extra point is blocked. A&T blocks the extra point, and it's a 16-10 Morgan State lead after that touchdown from Harris to Bailey with 44 seconds to go before the half. Could the Morgan State Bears be doing it again? The upset of the year last year at North Carolina A&T. Now Morgan State, a 6-play, 67-yard drive, a 27-yard touchdown, Harris to Bailey. And take a look at the blocked extra point. Nicholas O'Shea has gotten 2 field goal attempts blocked this season. Gets that extra point blocked.
And that was Amir McNeil. He's been flirting with a block extra point all game long. He's gotten great jump off that edge against this special teams unit of Morgan State. He finally came through with a huge block that still makes this a game where if A&T scores and kick the extra point, they have a lead. So great hustle by McNeil, but he's been flirting with that block all game long. I thought he's been doing a great job in applying pressure.
So a 6-play, 67-yard drive took 1:40 off the clock. Harris, the 27-yard touchdown to Bailey, and it's 16-10.
I think your words may have worked, man. You're starting to see more students coming from that library and fill the seats up on the home side of the stadium here, of Hughes Stadium.
Emory, when we speak, people listen.
That's true.
At least that's what we tell ourselves. 16-10 with 44 seconds to go here in the first half. Cook had a nice return last time. He'll have a chance to return it here. Cook on the return, gets a block, gets up to the 40-yard line. So that's where the Aggies will have the football, 60 yards away from the end zone with 38 seconds to go, trailing 16-10.
Now, he got a great block on that return. Like you said, 60 yards to go. And A&T has had their success throwing the football deep down the field. We'll see how aggressive they are down 6 here with 38 seconds left to go. But Carter has been seeing the field really well. And we'll see if they'll take some more shots downfield, especially since they have 3 timeouts.
Carter 7 of 14 passing, but he does have those 2 interceptions. 66 yards and a touchdown. His first half numbers. Carter plenty of time to throw down the field. Has a receiver wide open who had to come back for the football. That's Pride, and he couldn't hold on to it.
If there's a knock on Carter right now, is the fact that he's leaving a ton of yards. Now, that could have been a reception. That should have been a reception. But he had Rico Kennedy beat by a good 3 yards. You got to put that ball out in front. He's missed 3 potential touchdown passes in this ball game by underthrowing those receivers. If he could just step into that throw and get it out a little bit more, that would have been a touchdown.
2nd and 10 for Carter now. The graduate student took over for Reinert, who's been there for years, and another sack by Morgan State. The defense comes up and makes the big play, and that's big 99. Nathan Perry has the interception and now add a sack to his stat line.
But you won't be able to tell Nathan Perry anything all week long. He had a sack and an interception. He's going to be asking for offensive duties next week.
Now, remember, we were downstairs before this game, and someone told us, hey, we got Nathan Perry on that defensive line today. Watch out for him.
We did hear that.
So far, a sack and an interception to end the first half. Morgan State, last year they shocked the entire MEAC with their upset win at North Carolina A&T. Could they be doing it again at home? Morgan State has a 16-10 lead at the half. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. Back in Baltimore, Morgan State University, and the Bears with a 16-10 lead over the number 15 team in the country, North Carolina A&T Aggies. Welcome in, the halftime show here on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. Phil Shaner alongside Dr. Edward Scott, the Director of Athletics here at Morgan State. It's been a while since we had you on.
Yeah.
And you're finally getting some sleep. That baby's sleeping through the night, right?
I tell you what, Tia is starting to sleep through the night. My wife and I are happy. The life is getting a little bit back to normal, but we're excited.
That's great. Of course, Morgan State and the entire Baltimore area and the entire state of Maryland lost a great friend, and Mr. Cummings, and now you're doing something for him, both at the football level and the basketball level. And how did that come about, and exactly what you're doing, and explain that, exactly how Morgan State is honoring Mr. Cummings?
Yeah, so first of all, we're doing it with all of our teams. So the teams that have helmets, softball, football, we'll put a decal on the helmets, and then all the other teams on their white and blue jerseys, we'll put a black patch with the orange EC for the Honorable Elijah Cummings. It came about because I was having some conversations with our student athletes after Regent Cummings passed, and what I realized is they didn't understand his significance to the country, to the city of Baltimore, and to Morgan until his passing. And so in having that conversation with our student athletes, what I realized is we wanted to find a way to honor him, and we figured that this would be a great way to do it and show tribute to him and his family for what they've given to us.
Elijah Cummings passed away on October 17th, and of course, a great honor for him. He was a Howard University grad, but did a lot of great things here in the city of Baltimore and on Morgan, sat on a board here and was very involved and very instrumental for that. But now we're at that point here where we're wrapping up fall sports and jumping into winter sports. So a very busy time for the athletic office with the crossovers. Like, for example, today, football game here today. The basketball team's down in Philadelphia playing Temple. So how is that for you and the entire department to be able to manage all that going on when you have that crossover?
Well, the simple answer is long days and short nights, right? I mean, what you did mention is volleyball beat Coppin last night, so they rattled off 7 wins in a row.
Wow.
Basketball looks good. Women's basketball had a great win. And so this is the best time of year for us. I mean, this is why we put the work in. And I'm excited what I'm seeing on the field from our guys today as far as competition. Coach Wheatley has really taught them how to compete for 60 minutes, and you're starting to see some of that on the field now.
Veterans Day is Monday. Military Appreciation Day is today, and that's great. I mean, we see Hughes Stadium filled up with a lot of military, and just talk about that day and how important it is to honor the military on this weekend here at the football game.
Well, I mean, if it isn't for our troops and what they give in their service, we don't have the way of life that we have, and there is no intercollegiate athletics. There is no country the way we know it. So we always want to honor them, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Morgan, I believe, has 4 four-star generals, and we have 1, General Ellis, who sits on our board. So Morgan is heavily involved in the military, and our ROTC program is very robust. So anytime that we can appreciate the service that those folks give to us, it's a simple thing to do, but it goes a long way.
Visiting with the Director of Athletics at Morgan State, Dr. Edward Scott. And also another big thing with this today, you're playing a team number 14th in the country. And, coming off of last week's loss to Norfolk State shutout. And here they are today, 16-10 lead. It kind of shows you, hopefully where this program is going. And it looks like Coach Wheatley, he's putting his flag down here at Morgan State.
Absolutely.
And, he wants to he wants to turn things around, and games like this, moments like this, help in that process.
No doubt. It helps with recruiting. But the biggest thing for me is when I was hiring Coach Wheatley and Coach Kevin Brodus, it was about getting guys that fit the value of Morgan State University, the values that I have and of our department. And I can't think of 2 better people to lead those programs. I'm bullish on Coach Wheatley. I mean, he's a winner. He's not used to losing like this, and he's handled it extremely well, and he's been very even keel. And so I have no doubt within a year or 2, we're really going to turn this entire department. And I'm a confident guy, so everyone who knows me knows that we're going to put the resources behind it. And the most competitive person we have on this campus is Dr. Wilson. So when your leader, when it starts with him at the top, it's easy for the rest of us to fall in line.
When athletes come to visit Morgan State, they come and they visit the athletic program. The facilities are great, but there's something special on this campus, right? I mean, there's areas, there's places where they go, and they just kind of feel it. And I've heard from so many student athletes, why did you choose Morgan? And the answer always is, it felt like home.
Yeah, and we had the NCAA in yesterday because we got a large grant from them, and they talked to our student athletes, and the one thing that the student athletes kept saying is excellence and family. And I think those are the values that Morgan espouses as an institution. But the other thing is we're the only college and university in the United States that's designated as a national treasure. I mean, this is a little oasis in the city of Baltimore, and it really has a lot to offer students of all races, and beyond that, our student athletes as well.
Final thing before I let you go, that message that you just said there, do enough people know about that? Is the brand getting out there? Is there enough people countrywide that know, hey, there's a special place in Baltimore, you should go check it out?
They will now because we're telling them on
That's
ESPN3,
right.
and that's why we do this. I mean, and I want to say this before I go. We get a lot of compliments on our production for what you guys have done, what Gordon and his staff have done. I think at the FCS level, we have one of the best in-game productions and best overall productions in the country, and it's because we have a good team of people. So our brand is getting out there, and as we start winning, you trust me, there's going to be a lot more folks that know about Morgan State.
It's all about the brand, and the brand is good, that's for sure. We're at the half. Morgan State Bears have a 16-10 lead over North Carolina A&T. More to come. It's the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3.
iPhone. Get 4 lines of unlimited with 4 iPhone 11s included for only $35 a line.
Morgan State with 182 yards of offense compared to 140 yards of offense for North Carolina A&T. And right now, Morgan State with a 16-10 lead over the number 15 team in the country. It's 16-10. We're at the half on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. 16 second quarter points put up by the Morgan State Bears, and they lead it at the half 16-10 over North Carolina A&T. Let's take a look at how they got there with our first half highlights. Morgan State. Harris throws the interception. It was Joseph Stuckey with the interception. And then Rico Kennedy with an interception in the long return for the Morgan State Bears. And that led to Morgan State getting on the board with a Joshua Chase touchdown on a 4-play, 20-yard drive. And this big catch by Gervette down to the 2-yard line. And then in for the score. Morgan State takes care of that with the Joshua Chase touchdown. Back comes A&T. Carter to Zachary Leslie for the 10-yard score. It was 10-10. And then Harris, 27 yards to Bailey for the touchdown. The extra point was blocked, and that's where we are at the half.
Thanks, Dad.
What's his name?
Dad. Alexa, hang up.
The Aggies trying to do something that's only been done one other time in history, win 3 straight outright MEAC championships, but right now they're trailing at the half. Morgan State with a 16-10 lead. We're about to start the third quarter, the second half. Nicholas Chauchet will kick the football away for Morgan State. There's Coach Washington. Couldn't be happy with that first half. I'm sure had some things to say to his Aggies. Had a big win last week over South Carolina State, and here today in Baltimore, trailing 16-10. Shea's kick. Cook on the return. Cook across the 35-yard line down to the 37. Let's check some out-of-town scores around the MEAC today. South Carolina State rolling over Howard 20-0. Howard suspended their coach this week. How about Delaware State with a 7-0 lead over Bethune-Cookman? Bethune-Cookman trailing 7-0, and Norfolk State 3-0 lead over North Carolina Central. Bethune-Cookman and, of course, North Carolina A&T. The big showdown next week could be the game for the MEAC championship. Both teams atop the MEAC, and right now both teams are trailing in today's action with scores from around the MEAC. There is Martin on the run. Slipped and fell right before midfield, but that was good enough for a first down. Jermaine Martin on the carry, adding to his total. Martin 45 yards in the first half rushing the football.
It's a really great block play by A&T. Kick out and guard leading the way. If he hadn't slipped, he would have scored.
First and 10 from the 48. Quick hitter goes nowhere. Well played by Ian McBurrow as soon as the catch was made. McBurrow was there for the hit. Banks made the catch. McBurrow sits him down.
That's
tackle for a loss.
Easy recognition for McBurrow, just standing right there, staying home. Just being where he's supposed to be and just making a stop in the backfield.
McBurrow with 5 tackles now on the day, leading the way, tackling for Morgan State. 4th in the MEAC in tackles, Ian McBurrow. Of course, his buddy Rico Kennedy had the big interception that set up a touchdown for Morgan State in the first half, a 16-point second quarter for the Bears. Carter hands to Martin. Martin has a hole across midfield and into Bear territory down to the 48-yard line. Martin's a junior. As we said before, running back U is A&T. You had Cohn a few years ago. He's doing great things for the Bears. And then Cartwright last year. 9 different players, 1,000-yard seasons. And Martin has over 1,000 yards this season, becoming that 9th player at running back U for North Carolina A&T. 3rd and 6. Carter has the completion. Gets it to Lockhart. Lockhart makes a move. Still on his feet. Makes another man miss. Lockhart still running. Lockhart down the sidelines and finally was tripped inside the 10-yard line. What a great effort by the former Naval Academy transfer, Lockhart. Wow.
It's all about effort and want to. That play should have been stopped for a minimal gain, but you saw his want to right there, breaking a couple tackles and then getting down the sideline, almost getting into the end zone for a touchdown. That could be the particular play you point to as to how A&T got back into this ball game.
That play goes for 38 yards, and he should have been a 7-yard pass play. Instead, it goes for 38 with a great second effort. Baker with the carry, right side, gets a couple. So how about that? A 38-yard play, and that was all Lockhart. Breaking tackles, making people miss, an outstanding second effort. And here's Baker picking up a few on that first down carry.
That's the type of play where both coaches can show here. Here's an example of want to. Here's an example of lack of effort, and you have to give credit to big number 84 making that play happen on his own. Lockhart getting down the sideline.
Second and goal, going to the end zone. Up and making the grab is Leslie, but he was out of bounds. Leslie had the catch, but didn't have real estate to get a foot in, so incomplete pass.
I'm pretty sure he has a basketball background because he's used that post-up move to perfection twice today. He just couldn't get that left foot down inside the playing field. But what a great job just posting up and going up high to get the football. So I like what I'm seeing right now from Zachary Leslie and playing high post out there on the perimeter.
Leslie last year had 50 catches for 676 yards and 9 touchdowns. He was the leading receiver a year ago for the Aggies. And, of course, they have Elijah Bell as well, who's one of the top wide receivers in the MEAC. Third and goal, Carter gets out of bounds and no one to throw it to. That's a great job by the Morgan secondary.
It's an excellent job right there. And Carter for not forcing a football into harm's way, but great job on the back end by Morgan State, just rotating with Carter and rotating with those receivers, forcing the field goal attempt here by the Aggies.
Ruiz on for his second field goal of the game. He has 17 on the season, which is a single season record at North Carolina A&T. 28-yarder. Looking for his 18th field goal of the season. That gives North Carolina A&T 3 points. They still trail by 3. So they open the second half on a drive that ends in a field goal. An 8-play, 53-yard drive. Knowles field goal good from 28 yards, and it's a 16-13 Morgan State lead.
Free one-day delivery, video, music, and more with Prime.
Morgan State looking for Tyrone Wheatley's second win as head coach of the Bears, holding on to a 16-13 lead over North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T 8-play, 53-yard drive, ended in Ruiz's second field goal of the game, 28-yarder. That was like a win for the defense to keep A&T out of the end zone and make them settle for 3.
Yeah, and it's also a positive for A&T to come out looking refreshed. No penalties on that drive that we saw in the first half, and they were able to get down the field and get points.
Kick goes all the way back to the end zone and will be returned across the 20-yard line down to the 22. Let's take a look at the MEAC standings after that Cofield return. Here's what it looks like in the MEAC. Of course, there it is. North Carolina A&T and Bethune-Cookman both 4-1. Florida A&M is 6-0, but they're not eligible for the conference championship.
Yeah, you talk about the standings right here, but I think 2019 is just setting the table for what we're going to see in 2020, because we've been on a broadcast for 4 of these contests where we've been raving about these freshman quarterbacks that are coming into the MEAC that are playing right now, getting valuable experience. So next year, I think we're going to see a lot of teams with winning records and a lot of teams being in the mix for the Celebration Bowl at the end of the season and even the FCS playoffs.
First and 10 from the 20 for Morgan State. First down running play, not much there at all. Joshua Chase on the carry. Gets a yard, 2nd and 9 coming up.
Quick penetration right there defensively by big number 52, Michael Branch. He got back there pretty quickly.
Last week, 31 carries for just 78 yards for Morgan State as a team rushing the football in the shutout loss to Norfolk State. Harris. Completion. To Bailey. Bailey's more involved, his 5th catch, and I think that's why you're having the success. But take a listen to the catch and then the hit. But Bailey, with those 5 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown, That's why the offense is only averaging 14 points per game coming in. They have 16, and that's because, as we said in the open, if this offense wants to get better, they have to get their best player of the football, and they have done that today.
Yeah,
and Harris has played well.
I was about to say it takes 2 to tango and 3 to jump rope. Harris has played really well, and that was a throw previously that he would have missed a couple of games ago, so he's hitting the layups right now for Morgan State, and it has made all of the difference in their offense.
And there's a timeout on the field. The Aggies take a timeout. They're down by 3. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN.
Have fun at work.
Morgan State 4 of 7 on third downs in this game. A 3rd and 6. Their own 25-yard line. North Carolina A&T. Coach Washington wanted to talk about things, and Harris, time to throw, has the completion. Bailey with another grab, his 6th catch of the game, and has the first down.
What I like what Bailey did right there is when he saw indecisiveness between the two, he just got right upfield. The quickest way between point A and point B is straight ahead. No time to dance. He was able to do that and convert on 3rd and 6, helping him stay on the field.
Bailey now with 6 catches and a first down. The 9th first down of the game for Morgan State. DeAndre Harris playing one of his best games of the season. Tackled in the backfield this time on the read option. He kept it himself, and there's a penalty marker down as he was brought down in the backfield for a loss.
It's going to be a face mask on A&T, which will give Morgan State another first down. Again, they're just moving the football down the field, but also A&T shooting themselves in the foot.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 94. 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
There you see the face mask right there on Harris. Justin Katz, defensive lineman. And a first down for Morgan State. How about this score, 16-13? What's significant about that score? That was the same score from last year at North Carolina A&T when Morgan State ended the Aggies' 15-game win streak.
False start, offense, number 63. Center picked the ball up. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Alex Rea had the 36-yard field goal as time ran out, and a 16-13 upset last year at North Carolina A&T. And here we are, a year later in Baltimore, Maryland, with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. And Morgan has a 16-13 lead over A&T. 1st and 15 after the 5-yard penalty of the Bears. Harris out of the gun, gives to Chase, gets up to the 45-yard line.
And Morgan State isn't doing anything spectacular offensively. I think they're just doing a great job of playing a patient game. Their offensive line, I think, is starting to slowly lean on that Aggie defensive front, and that's when you're starting to see the run game have a little bit more success. Harris has had time in the pocket all game long, and he's finally hitting his layups in the passing game. So they're just playing good, solid offense right now against North Carolina A&T.
Chase again. Gets a couple there, and third down coming up.
So you have 3rd and about 9 right here. It wouldn't surprise me to see A&T dial up some sort of pressure coming off the short side of the field to force Harris off the spot and to get a quick throw to force an incomplete pass.
5 of 8 on third downs this game. Harris scans the field, going to run the football and gets into A&T territory, but well short of a first down. Stopped at the 49-yard line, and 4th down coming up for Morgan State.
That was just a great job defensively by A&T. You saw their secondary just squat at the sticks. They played sticks coverage, didn't let anyone get past them deep down the field, just played for the first down and was able to pretty much keep everything bottled up, keep everything in front of them, and allow that defensive line to get pressure and bring them down.
Howard was one of the guys that brought him down in on that play. Also Branch. So 4th down, O'Shea will punt the football. The 7:06 mark of the third quarter. Back to A&T. Fair catch called for at the 20-yard line. And that's where A&T will have the football as a late penalty marker comes down. That might have been on one of the Aggies after the play was over. So that would push them back.
Yeah, it looks like another block in the back, perhaps. And again, just another mental mistake by A&T in this ball game. They will look at this stat sheet and look at those penalties and be super frustrated with their performance in this ball game.
One thing I noticed, the Morgan State coaching staff and Coach Wheatley have been talking to Antroy Singletary a lot here in this game. So they must be pointing things out that they're noticing or seeing that they feel should be penalized.
Unnecessary roughness, return team number 33. Half the distance, first down, timeout.
So the Aggies will have the football down 3 when we get back here in the third quarter on ESPN3.
Perfect.
Thanks, Dad.
What's his name?
Dad. Alexa, hang up.
What a job this Morgan State defense is doing against the Aggies, the number 1 team in the MEAC for points scored, 34 points, number 1 team for total offense at 444 yards a game average, and the number 1 rushing team at 235 a game. Martin tackled in the backfield for a loss, and McBurrow was there, also Washington. So I gave you those numbers so you know that A&T only has 13 points here in the third quarter. As far as yards, total yards 193. They average 444. And rushing the football, they're under 90 yards today, and they average 235. So what a job that the Bears defense have done, and Ian McBurrow's tackle there for a 3-yard loss.
Yeah, defensive coordinator Antonio James has done a fantastic job in calling a great game plan against his very potent offense of A&T.
2nd and 13 for the Aggies. Banks was in motion. Carter will keep it himself, has a lot of running room. The Bears were fooled on that play. McBurrow brought him down, but not after a big game by Carter. Everyone was sold that Martin was getting the football to the right side, and Carter just had a ton of real estate ahead of him.
Yeah, they sold out on the previous run play. You're going to see right there that some Malachi Washington once again just flying across the field. No contain on the outside, and it was just an easy decision for Carter to pull.
On the offense, 5 men in the backfield.
Wow.
Half the distance, replay second down.
Penalty number 9. And that was a huge one. Wipes away the big run by Carter, and there you see Coach Washington. He knows that those type of penalties, that's how you get in trouble. Yeah. When you're playing a team with 1 win and you're on the road, and you talk maybe a trap game with Bethune-Cookman, 9 penalties. Those are the things that can get you into some trouble. Second and 17 now from the 3-yard line. Carter has his feet in his own end zone. Fires has the completion far sideline. Good catch there made by Banks. Corey Banks reaches up high and makes the catch. This is a big third down here for the Morgan State defense. If they can get the Aggies offense off the field and get the ball back to their offense, they'd have some decent field position. At the 5:25 mark of this third quarter, holding on to a 3-point lead are the Bears.
Love what I'm seeing from wide receiver coach Matt Plowski. Keep teaching his guys to go up high at the highest point and get the football.
Carter's going to run it, trying to run for the first down, and has the run for the first down. Knew exactly what he needed, and he got it. He needed 8, he got 10.
Maybe that's going to be a situation where they're going to lean more on his legs to help get them back into this ball game, because once again, they're selling out on Jermaine Martin, and they're leaving a lot of real estate for Carter to find and exploit. He's done a good job today running with the football.
Ian McBurrow in double digits in tackles for the 2nd straight week. He had 13 a week ago. Double digits again today. McBurrow's been all over the field. 1st and 10. The 22 for the Aggies. Martin trying to move the pile. Picks up 3 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd and 7 after a short Martin gain. So Martin on the day, 65 yards. That's not his typical day on 12 carries. Martin last week looking to bounce back. The MEAC's top rusher only had 63 yards on 16 carries a week ago against a very good South Carolina State defense.
Yeah, they're showing tremendous respect to Jermaine Martin, and they're not giving the same respect to Carter, which is why he's had success running the football today.
Carter, the throw, has the completion to Leslie. Leslie with the catch and brought down immediately after catching the football. 3rd down coming up for A&T.
Really good tackle right there in space by Simeon Gatlin. the strong safety, just flying up in run support, but getting his arm around that one leg and bringing him down. So you've seen some good team defense by Morgan State. This is a big third down, in my opinion, for Morgan State's defense more so than A&T's offense. Because right now, if you're Morgan State, you have to be cognizant of Khalil Carter taking off and running for a first down.
There's a look at Gatling. Made that good play. This is a huge third down. Hand off straight ahead, looking for the sticks, and got the first down. So Carter keeps it, and he has the first down. That is the 16th first down of the game for North Carolina A&T. 4-yard pickup and a 1st and 10 for the Aggies.
Mobile quarterbacks make it an 11-on-11 game because you gain an extra blocker and you lose a guy in coverage if you're on the defense. So Carter's doing a great job in playing the numbers game.
Carter 11 of 20 passing, 2 interceptions. Came into this game with only 1 pick. Do you realize that North Carolina A&T as a team only threw 2 interceptions coming into this game, compared quite a few interceptions that the Morgan State quarterbacks have thrown this year, and penalty marker down. Legal procedure on North Carolina A&T. Penalty number 10.
Offense number 13.
And it's a lot of it has been pre-snap penalties. So just lining up properly and knowing the snap count is those penalties that have plagued A&T in this ball game.
Coming into this game, North Carolina A&T a +7, and Morgan State a -16. 2:20 to go, third quarter. A&T with 10 penalties in this game. Carter threw that pass away. A little miscommunication. Might have been looking for Leslie. Leslie has 4 catches. Lockhart has 4.
It's a good stick right there by Washington, who's coming off the edge. Onakasa, this is the 3rd time this series where he's been streaming off the edge. And on that play, he thought Leslie was going to convert that out route into a streak. He had no one over top, but Leslie ran that out pattern, and Carter threw the fade, and no one was there.
Washington was injured, missed all of last season, had a great year the year before the injury. Carter on the keep. It's up to the 35-yard line before he was stopped.
Morgan State right now is forcing A&T into playing a downhill game. A&T wants to attack left, right, then downhill. But right now, with the way Morgan State is playing perimeter defense, they're forcing them to play a condensed game, which is why they're struggling right now offensively.
Another big third down. 6 of 10 on third downs for North Carolina A&T. Carter, incomplete. Was looking for Banks, couldn't hold on to it, and a 4th down.
Yeah, even though it was a little bit behind him, I thought Corey Banks had an opportunity to make that reception. That's one you have to bring in. He was wide open. He would have been running in through open grass and had a chance to get that first down and maybe a little bit more, but that's a play that you have to hit. If you're the number 15th ranked team in the country, you have to hit those plays. You have to be able to convert these 3rd and mediums, 3rd and longs.
Rivers punting from his 20. Woolfolk to return the punt, waiting at the 20 on the opposite side. Wes Woolfolk calls for the fair catch at the 21-yard line, and that's where the Morgan State Bears will have the ball with a 3-point lead with 1:24 to go here in the third quarter. And the question coming into this, one of the storylines, could Morgan State's quarterback play be better? You know, they've been playing 2 guys, Galat and Harris. It's been all Harris all day, and Harris has played well, and it's probably the reason for the 3-point lead. But the comparison last week between the 2 quarterbacks, having only 75 yards passing, they were 8 of 26 combined, and they threw 5 interceptions against Norfolk State last week. But today, Harris, 10 of 14, 133 yards and a touchdown, has been sacked once and has thrown 1 interception. He's played probably his best game of the season at quarterback. The handoff straight ahead on the first down carry by Chase. Picks up a yard, and that's it. 2nd and 9 coming up.
But the reason you bring that up is because it's probably tied into why he's having success today. We haven't seen DJ Galata or the backup quarterback, so you're allowing your quarterback to play an entire game. He's getting comfortable, he's overcoming mistakes, and he's having a better game as a result. So I think continuity is the reason why he's having the success he's having today.
Harris going to throw it, and incomplete. Was looking for Woolfolk, was the intended receiver, but incomplete.
It's probably the one pass I saw him just be off target with, and he had a little bit of pressure right there coming off the edge. Just a bit outside for Woolfolk.
3rd and 9 for the Bears. 5 of 9 on third downs for DeAndre Harris, senior from Washington, Georgia. Harris is going to run. Second effort gets him the first down. How about that? It looked like he was going to slow up and maybe be a yard or two short, but then Harris manned up a little bit and got the yards he needed.
He had no choice, man. He had somebody squeezing him in tight, but good job right there just using that big frame of his. That's where his size was playing into his advantage. He's a 6'4" kid, 210 pounds, able to lean in a little bit more to pick up that first down, as they're going to probably take this thing into the fourth quarter.
Circle that. That was a big third down run by your quarterback right there to make sure that they don't have to give the ball back here now with the final 10 seconds of this third quarter, and keep the football going into the fourth quarter and keep working on that clock with a 16-13 lead. And that will be the final play of the third quarter. Can the Morgan State Bears do it again? It was one of their biggest wins in school history a year ago. They're up 16-13. The fourth quarter is...
As you know, I got to talk to Mama. Then I'll...
This is your wake-up call, people. The new TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control.
Phil Shaner alongside the czar of the playbook, Emory Hunt, at Hughes Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. And the defense believes Morgan State looking for back-to-back wins over the two-time defending HBCU champs, North Carolina A&T, in 15 more minutes to go, and Morgan State trying to hold on to their 16-13 lead. First down carry by Johnson, not much there. So what does Morgan State need to do here in this last 15 minutes to pull the upset again on A&T?
They can't close the playbook. They can't get conservative. You can't think that you have enough points to win this ball game. They have to stay aggressive. They have to continue to push the limit of that coverage unit right there for A&T. Attack those guys vertically downfield, and that's how you stay on the field.
2nd and 10 for Harris. Harris 10 of 14, and he is sacked for the second time today in the backfield.
And he had Menashe Bailey running free over the middle of the field. He beat the defender by about a yard, was running back across the formation. Just couldn't pull a trigger because he couldn't step up into the pocket. That pressure for A&T is starting to collapse the pocket around him, making this a 3rd and very long. So it wouldn't surprise me to see some sort of screen come from this offense, this drive, to try to get this ball a little bit further up the field.
Cates with the sack. He has 3.5 sacks now on the season. 3rd down. Pressure again. Harris outside of the pocket. Fires and has the completion. Not much there for Woolfolk after the catch. And his momentum was stopped at the 38-yard line.
There's a man down, but you see right here, the effort right there by Woolfolk makes this an interesting decision because it's now 4th and about 4. It's a situation where they're going to gamble and try to maybe talk about going for it.
We'll see what they do on 4th down when we get back on ESPN3.
Millions of items with Prime.
Benny the Bear in fatigues on Military Appreciation Day, and his Bears with a 16-13 lead. And this is Shake-Up Saturday in the MEAC. The two top teams, North Carolina A&T trailing in this game 16-13. And how about Delaware State is beating Bethune-Cookman 16-0 in the second quarter. So the two top teams sitting atop the MEAC are both currently losing right now. Banks on the return up to the 40-yard line. And with that, South Carolina State, they're back in play with that because remember, probably the best team in the MEAC this year is FAMU, but they're not eligible.
Right, and it puts everybody back in play, man. Here's another situation where you look at South Carolina State. No one wants to play them because of their defense. You saw how they gave A&T all those problems before.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Delaware State, Bethune-Cookman trailing there, and that's incredible on that front. And because next week, that was the game of the year in the MEAC, right? Bethune-Cookman taking on North Carolina A&T, hopefully for all the marbles, but now currently both teams trailing on this shake-up Saturday in the MEAC after that run by Martin.
Yeah, you talk about shake-up Saturday. Again, South Carolina State is a team that no one really wants to talk about. They gave A&T problems, but they also have the ability to run the football. They're playing great defense. And if you're Bethune-Cookman, you know what happens at the end when you play in the Florida Classic against FAMU. That's going to be a huge game. They would love to play spoiler in that one.
A lot to still go down in the next couple of weeks in this MEAC. Next week, the Bethune-Cookman A&T game, and then is, like you said, the last game of the season where A&T, they play North Carolina Central to end the season, which is a rivalry, and then of course the Florida Classic, FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. So there's a lot to be decided yet of who's going to win this MEAC, who's going to go to the Celebration Bowl. This thing is not over by any means here with 2 weeks to go in the MEAC season.
And what's interesting is that the MEAC has two teams ranked in the top 25. So let's say in that Florida Classic, Bethune is able to get a win against a top-ranked FAMU squad. That helps their chances of getting into the FCS playoffs.
Big third down. Carter on the run has the first down in the Bear territory. I'll tell you what, both quarterbacks, when a big play was needed on third down, Harris has done it on the Morgan side, and Khalil Carter has done it on the A&T side to get the yardage needed on third down.
Yeah, I've said all second half, it's going to be his legs that's going to be the catalyst for their comeback because they've focused in on stopping Jermaine Martin, and Carter has been able to eat heavily today on the ground.
1st and 10. Aggies working in Bear territory at the 49. Carter to throw. Plenty of time. Going up top. Ball's thrown shy and almost intercepted as it was thrown short of the intended receiver, Leslie, and Carl Garnes was right there. Should have had an interception.
What have I been saying all second half? These receivers have gotten by these Morgan State defenders, and I'm not talking about just a step, sometimes maybe 2 or 3 steps, but the passes have been underthrown by Khalil Carter, and Carl Garnes probably should have had that interception like you talked about. But what a great job defensively by him getting back into the play, getting that head around and making the play on the ball.
Second down coming here for A&T, and Khalil Carter, the graduate student, sat behind Bernard all those years, the great quarterback at A&T. There's Jermaine Martin. Big run there for Martin. Piles being stacked up at the 34-yard line after the 15-yard carry by Martin. But Martin never went down, and Morgan State's defense never stopped pushing.
Gotta love that power play, man. You get behind big number 79, that right tackle, Dante Keys, who's having a fantastic day on the ground. You get him to the second and third level, you're going to get a lot of yards running the football.
14 yards on that carry by Martin, and now Morgan State, they want to talk things over defensively as they take a timeout with 11:04 to go here in the fourth quarter. We'll step aside as well. The Aggies are heating up. They're in Bear territory. They want to take the lead.
How do I get shiny hair?
For shiny hair, consider incorporating finishing oil to your styling routine.
11:04 to go, fourth quarter. Morgan State trying to hold on to a 16-13 lead over North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T had a 3-0 lead in this game with the 3:46 mark of the first quarter. And the game was tied 10-10 in the second quarter with 2:31. And sat at this 16-13 score. No scoring, just a field goal in the third quarter for A&T. Carter going to the end zone. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Bell, who's been very quiet today. One of the top receivers in the MEAC, unable to hold on to that one. Elijah Bell couldn't come up with the catch.
And that was the first time Carter actually put it out in front. That's a grab that Bell has to bring in. That was a touchdown waiting to happen. Great throw by Carter, putting the football out in front to where his receiver can run underneath it. Bell has to make that reception. That's the first time we saw a pass like that from Khalil Carter all game long.
And Bell is being shut out. He's been quiet all day. Jermaine Martin in the backfield, tackle for a loss. Washington was back there. One of the guys to get back. Malachi Washington in the backfield to stop Jermaine Martin. And a defensive injury for Morgan State.
Yeah, Malachi Washington has been playing like a guy with his hair on fire, chasing those backside run plays. And, you know, he's playing that grizzly position, which is sort of like their rover, their whip, whatever you want to call it. So he's a free reign rusher. He's allowed to chase the ball back and forth down the sideline or get after the quarterback. He's done a great job today in blowing up many run plays for North Carolina A&T. So Malachi Washington, it may not show up in the stat sheet as a lot of tackles, but his presence definitely has been felt out there defensively.
No question. McBurrow has 10 tackles, and of course, Rico Kennedy only has a couple of tackles, but he had that big interception. And of course, we can't forget about the play of Nathan Perry inserted into that defensive line, a couple of big tackles, and he has a pick as well. So definitely the story for this one is Harris has played better at quarterback for Morgan State, but the defense has played so well, that's why they have a 3-point lead.
Yeah, they've taken essentially Jermaine Martin out of the game, and they're forcing Khalil Carter to beat them throwing the football, and that's something he hasn't proven yet that he can do.
Martin just 66 yards rushing on 13 carries today. Carter 11-22 has been picked off twice, looking to throw here. Here comes the pressure. Carter has to throw the football away, and incomplete because of that pressure. Had to hurry up and get rid of that football.
Well, they say the front end helps out the back end, but in this situation, the back end helped out the front end. The coverage was excellent, allowing that defensive pressure to get back there, and big number 91, Marino Dendo, put him back on the ground.
So a 4th down now for the Aggies. Benny the Bear likes it. Puts up the 5th, puts up the fist. That means 4th down. Well, Dendo's played big, and from the other side, Dunga's been good as well. Had a couple of those penalty, had that personal foul in the first half, but then Kennedy's been great with that interception. McBurrow has 10 tackles. A little pooch kick, and a penalty marker falls down at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, they wasn't set.
No, it's going to be on A&T again. Are you ready? This is penalty number 11 now on the Aggies. 11 penalties.
Prior to the snap, the delay of game, the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
So 11 penalties for 74 yards.
11 penalties, 2 interceptions, ineffective run game.
Yep. That's what you put in the pot, and when you stir it all around, you're making upset, right?
Exactly.
You're making upset soup.
Yep, there you go. I like how you put that together. You worked on that all day, didn't you?
I did. I did.
But that's so true. Those are the ingredients to what we have now potentially as an upset by Morgan State. That's what coaches will point to as to why they lost the game.
Trademark upset soup, or at least hashtag it, right?
We will put that on a T-shirt with my saying.
Yes. Ball is touchdown at the 6-yard line. So now the pressure comes on North Carolina A&T's defense to see what they can do. And Morgan State's going to have to go a long way here on offense. 10:05 to go in the 4th quarter. They're thinking upset. Can they do it again?
On millions of items at Amazon.
41-degree fall November Saturday. Campus at Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. The Bears holding on to a 16-13 lead for the North Carolina A&T. Handoff up the middle for a couple. College football celebrates its 150th year, and the MEAC is proud to document and showcase some of the legendary coaches throughout the history of black college football. You want to visit MEACsports.com and the MEAC YouTube channel to watch the interviews of some of the great coaches of all times, talking about guys like Coach Broadway and Billy Joel, and also Billy Joe and The Godfather, some great coaches of all time. You can check that out at MEACsports.com and the MEAC YouTube channel. Morgan State keeps it on the ground for the second straight time. Again, trying to run as much clock as they can. Joshua Chase with a couple of carries, but a third down now coming up for the Bears.
Yeah, they're starting to tighten up a little bit inside, has A&T. So if you're Morgan State, attacking the perimeter is where you're going to have to win this ball game or close out this ball game, because right now I think the Aggies are a little bit more stout up front than they were in the first part of this ball game.
6 of 11 on third downs for Morgan State. DeAndre Harris has had a couple of big runs today. He's going to run again. Now throws the football. Coming back for it is White with the completion. White to the 30-yard line and a first down. Huge play there. Looked like Harris was going to take off, and then a great job by his wide receiver, White, to get open and sit in space.
Well, that was a Khalil Carter type play where you're seeing the field really well. And Harris, like you said, he was about to take off, but he saw White just standing right there by himself, pass the sticks, get the football to him, allow him to convert that first down.
That was a huge first down. 8:30 to go in the fourth quarter. And they did not want to give the ball back that quickly to the Aggies. Now they run it on the ground, and their biggest run of the day as far as traditional running, handing off the football, and the biggest rush for Joshua Chase for the day. Now Harris has had explosive runs, but as far as the backs, guys like Parker and Chase and Johnson, that was the biggest run for a running back today.
Those two guards right there, you talk about Tariq Johnson and also number 73, they were trying to find work, but had he just ran through that hole, Chase would have ran right behind him because they had no one in front of them. That could have gone for an even bigger gain on first down.
9-yard pickup, 2nd and 1. 7:45 to go. Woolfolk is the one in motion. Give to Chase. Chase has enough for the first down to move the sticks. That's all you wanted. You get that first down and keep that clock running. At this point, keep away game. Keep the North Carolina's A&T's offense on the sideline as you try to run as much clock as you can.
Now, even though this is a 1-8 football team, they're still trying to find ways how to win. They're an experienced group, but they haven't had a lot of experience in winning. So this is a teachable moment for this Morgan State Bears football team. Can you close out a ball game against a very good A&T ball club?
UVA Lynchburg up next week here to finish off the season at home, and then a road trip to Washington, D.C. against Howard in 2 weeks to close out the season for Morgan State. Harris going up deep, down the sidelines, coming back to make the catch. There's a penalty marker down as well, and that is Bailey who caught the football. And they're saying the catch was made, and of course there was pass interference all the way on Bailey. And Bailey with his 7th catch of the afternoon. This was a highlight one.
That's an NFL play right there by an NFL prospect. You saw him go up, find the football, and the reason why it's going to be a penalty because Jalen Bethea didn't turn around to find the football. It was underthrown. Had he turned around, he would have hit that football and not
score the handstand.
He got the handstand.
Score the handstand.
Outstanding athleticism. Again, this is a game that's being well attended by pro scouts. I talked to a couple in the press box, and they came to see Bailey. They came to see the previous plays under review. They came to see Bell. They came to see the tackle Pettiford. So they're getting a show today from all those playmakers on this field.
Well, we're under review, and I don't think all the judges got their scores in on the handstand. So we're still waiting for some scores on that beautiful handstand that Bailey performed after the catch.
And he just didn't stick it. He held it.
He held it. He showed his strength. One thing about Bailey that's going to make him the NFL prospect that everybody's talking about, and the excitement of guys coming here to Hughes Stadium to watch Bailey play and coming to practice, not only his ability as a wide receiver, but those other roles. He has 2 block punts this year, 1 for a touchdown, 1 for a safety. So the special teams play. And remember, it was only in high school when he just started playing football. He was he was always a basketball guy and was kind of talked into it. Was kind of a linebacker when he first came here, and then is converted over. So he's an athlete, and I think they see that ability and how much of an athlete that Bailey is. That he could make a team and play on Sundays.
And they not only see the athlete, but they see the upside. He held that point right there. Man, that's impressive. They see the upside to where a guy is still learning the nuances of the position. So what you can't coach his heart and want to, he has that in spades. He has that toughness with his defensive background. and you're seeing a lot of what he brings to the table. They don't have to teach him special teams at the pro level because he's playing special teams here and playing it really well.
On the field stands. First down.
First down. Well, Bailey has had 6 catches a couple of times. He had 6 catches for 121 against Army, 4 catches for 172 against James Madison. Also had 6 catches for 106 against Delaware State. Had 6 catches against FAMU. He has the ability to hit numerous catches, and that's when this offense starts to work. The handoff back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it for Johnson. So Bailey, 6 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown. So Bailey now 4 times this year has had 6 catches.
I've been impressed with Colin Howard, the inside backer for A&T. That's his second big stick he's had in a run game. I like how he's playing. He's a redshirt sophomore, 6 feet, 244 pounds. He's been excellent quietly today for A&T.
Second down now for Morgan State. Harris, play action. Thrown to Bailey, and pass was thrown into the turf. So Bailey, after adding in that 37-yard pass play that we just saw after the great handstand, 7 catches, 118 yards, and 1 touchdown. So the 7 catches for Bailey matches a season high in the game. He had 6 a couple of times. He's never had 7, so 7 catches, that's a season high for him in receiving catches with 7. Third down. 7 of 12 on third downs. Harris throws in the slant route. The ball is caught. Going towards the end zone is Woolfolk. And he stopped at the 2-yard line. But that will move the sticks. First and goal. Big catch by Wes Woolfolk down to the 2-yard line.
What a tremendous throw right there by Harris. He put that one right on the money. Confidence level throw that you're seeing a guy just gain that confidence as the game goes on. He's playing way above the X's and O's right now. I like how DeAndre Harris is playing the quarterback position.
Harris 13 of 18, 199 yards and a touchdown. Morgan State 16-13 lead, looking to knock off one of the top teams in the FCS for the 2nd straight year. They upset them a year ago on the Alex Rea field goal. His time expired. Handoff to Chase. Loses 2 yards. Gets him back to about the 4-yard line. So 2nd and goal from the 3 or the 4 coming up for Morgan State.
Yeah, good job right there by Devin Harrell, the defensive end, number 50, just closing that gap. You want to condense that space. He crashed down the line of scrimmage and made that stop in the backfield. Great stop right there by the sophomore from Gastonia, North Carolina.
A&T has a lot of young players on their defense that have made big plays this season. 2nd and goal. Chase. You don't want to get conservative at this point. I think you have a lot of momentum with what Harris has been doing, throwing the football, and then his ability to get out where he can have an option to look the defense over and make the right decision. So Chase has 2 carries, doesn't get much. Kendrick right there, the big guy in the line to make the stop. 6'4", 309, so they have that big defensive line. So, go with what got you here, right? You got Bailey, who has those 7 catches. He's shown his playmaking ability. And I think that Harris is playing so great today. Get him in a position where he can make an option.
You may see that roll out here, throwback screen toward the tight end coming back across the formation.
4:05 to go in the game. Clock running, down to 4 minutes now. They give it to Joshua Chase, who sneaks down to the 2-yard line, and that is it. And a 4th and goal coming up. 3 straight plays to Joshua Chase, who Joshua Chase has struggled today, only 27 yards rushing the football. And Harris and Bailey's have been the ones that make the big plays, and yet they haven't gone to him in this red zone situation.
I like what they did there on that 3rd down by spreading the field and trying to run inside. Maybe that should have been a call on 1st or 2nd down, because now on 4th, everyone in the stadium knows that you're passing the football, so you have to try to find a way to make sure you give your quarterback, like you talked about, a tool when he goes. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them put Harris on the move, give him a run-pass type of option to where if the first or second quick read isn't there, tuck it, use that 6'4", 210-pound frame to try to power yourself into the end zone.
Well, now you're 4th and goal. You kick the field goal, or are you going for it?
You have to go for it. You're 1-7. This is a 15th ranked team in the country. You have to go for the touchdown, go for the knockout blow, and that's how you build that winning attitude for your football team. You want to teach them how to win. Well, this is an example of a live teaching moment to get out there and you're playing to win the game. To use Coach Herm's comment, and if you're Coach Wheatley, this is what you want to do. You want to go out there and try to win. So he's sending looks like his field goal team out there, so he's going to kick this field goal. He's going to try to make it a 6-point lead here for Morgan State. Send out the field goal team.
On comes Nick O'Shea. Has a field goal here today. He's 11 of 14 on the season. This is a 20-yarder. Kick is up and good. And there's a penalty marker down. Roughing the kicker. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he dove directly into the legs of the Morgan State kicker.
Roughing the kicker, defense number 24. The result of the play, successful field goal. Foul being forced on the kickoff.
So there you see the roughing the kicker on Nick O'Shea.
So they're going to keep the points on the board?
Yes, it's at half and after. They'll keep the field goal, and then they'll assess the penalty on the kickoff. There you see the roughing the kicker on Nick O'Shea, coming in and hitting Nick. There you go.
I was getting ready to say.
Of course, yeah. You wouldn't want to take the points at that point. Take the penalty, have first and goal opportunity, a chance for you to get a touchdown. Boy, that would have been a big old blunder if
that would have been allowed.
Yeah, if that would have went down, right?
Because at the end of the day, even if you don't get a touchdown here, you've probably taken off another minute and a half on the clock. I
mean, obviously, you would take the points off the board because you'd get the ball back there with a first and goal at the 2-yard line.
Bingo. And you have a chance to kick another field goal if you don't get it.
Right. So let's see if we get something besides Joshua Chase trying to run into the end zone and see if get things going. So here we go. First and goal on the 1-yard line. Harris tries to fight his way into the end zone. Waiting for the call. Where is he marked? Touchdown, Morgan State! DeAndre Harris on the keeper, puts it in for 6.
It's an excellent job by that Morgan State Bear offensive line, just getting good surge up front. When we have a 6'4", 210-pound QB, you have an opportunity to lean in for that touchdown. That's just a great job of creating a wedge and pushing the entire offense into the end zone.
Harris's second rushing touchdown of the season. Harris has played great. He really has today.
You have to be careful here if you're Morgan State because your kicker limped onto the field to kick this extra point. We know A&T has blocked one earlier.
One block on an extra point already today. And a second block. O'Shea falls on it and then is tackled at the 6-yard line. So you nailed that one. Second extra point blocked in this game. So here we are, 22-13 with 3:27 to go. Morgan State looking for back-to-back upsets of North Carolina A&T.
Now, instead of being up by 6, you're up by 9, which means it's a 2-possession game. You're going to see right there, once again, that left side of Morgan State's offensive line on field goal and extra point has been weak throughout the entire contest, and A&T has gotten significant pressure, culminating in their second block extra point.
That drive was impressive. 13 plays, 91 yards, 6:38 off the clock, ended with the DeAndre Harris 1-yard touchdown. A 91-yard play drive. That drive is the type of drives that are good enough to get upset victories.
Yeah, that's the drive that if you're Coach Wheatley, you want to showcase to your football team each and every day at practice.
Because they're trapped at the 9, right? If North Carolina A&T's defense comes out and does their job, they're getting their offense the ball back in great field position. But not the case. The Bears, DeAndre Harris, go 91 yards down the field and get it in for 6.
Now they have to score twice to win.
Let's see what A&T can do. A couple good returns by Cook today. He lost the football. And now it's being returned by Simon before he was brought down. So Cook, on the initial return, lost it. Then Simon picked it up. And everything was said and done. It looks like the Aggies are going to have the football on the 40-yard line after 2 fumbles on the kickoff return. There's Cook. Ball comes out. Then Simon picks it up, and there he goes.
And look at where A&T is set up again on the 40-yard line. They've had 60 or 59 yards to work with the entire game off returns.
So the Aggies down 22-13, 3:10 to go. Carter, the pass out of the backfield to Martin. Martin into Bear territory, and a first down. 14-yard pickup there, Carter to Martin out of the backfield.
A&T only has 1 timeout to work with, so they have to continue to run with this rapid pace.
Carter, plenty of time to throw in the pocket, and now scrambles. Carter still has his eyes downfield. The pass is incomplete, far sideline. Right in the sun he was going to Lockhart, and Lockhart, who has 4 catches, could not come up with his 5th catch because he was staring right in the sun, and also pretty good defensive coverage there as well.
That's one where I thought Carter was going to take off and try to get as much as he can before getting out of bounds. But he tried to throw it to his receiver. His receiver is looking right back into the setting sun here at Hughes Stadium. And he just kind of lost it for a second.
Lockhart, the leading receiver, 4 catches for 69 yards. Completion made there to the sideline to Elijah Bell. Bell, who's been very quiet, comes up and makes the catch. He's 4th in the MEAC in catches and yards as a receiver.
You start to think back to all of the big plays missed by A&T going deep down the field. Those little small plays add up.
3rd and 2 after the 8-yard pass completion. They go to the same route, and was the ball caught? It was by Bell. So Bell, who's been quiet all day, now they're going to him. Bell last week had 11 catches for 107 yards against South Carolina State. He has 8 career 100-yard receiving games. So I'm not surprised that Carter is going to Bell. But they're going to review this to see if this was reviewed. So let's take another look at it and see if Bell caught that football or not. Under review with 2:11 to go. Morgan State looking for their 2nd victory of the season.
And you see on this series, what we talked about earlier, you want to think players, not plays. So the last 2 passes have gone directly to their best player on offense in Elijah Bell.
Morgan State 1-8 on the season, 1-5 in MEAC play. Their only win was against Delaware State. They beat Delaware State 34-3.
I think that's an easy reception right there. He got down on both knees before securing the ball.
After further review, the ruling on the field was confirmed. Completed catch, first down.
So Bell with back-to-back catches and a first down grab. What's the main factor now down 22-13 is that clock.
Yeah.
2:11 to go. They need to score and need the ball back. First and 10 for Carter and the Aggies. Carter going towards the end zone, front pylon, and incomplete. He was looking for Zachary Leslie.
Just another situation where if he puts this ball out in front, Leslie has a step and a half, and you can make a better play on the ball, but he pushes it toward the sideline. I get it, because if it falls out of bounds, the clock stops, but you had an opportunity. Leslie had a step on the defensive back. You want to put that toward the back pylon inside just a little bit so he can run underneath it and get a foot in bounds.
2nd and 10 for Carter. Carter out of the pocket, eyes still downfield, goes again to the back pylon this time, was looking for Banks and incomplete. Morgan State Bears secondary doing a great job on coverage.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and what they're doing is rotating toward the side of the field that Carter is scrambling toward. And when quarterbacks do that, it shrinks the field in half for them, and it makes it easier for guys to cover, especially if you have a free defender dropping in zone. Now you could have an overload situation where you take away 2 options with 3 guys. So be interested to see what they do here on 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10. 7 of 13 on 3rd downs for the Aggies. Carter's pass far sideline to Leslie, and they're saying it's a catch.
It's unbelievable.
How did he come up with that grab?
That's an excellent reception right there by Leslie, man. He was able to stretch out as far as he could to keep 1 foot in bounds and bring it in on the sideline. He had an undercutting defensive back, and just a great job, toe drag swag right there by Leslie, the 6'3", 203-pound junior, getting that foot in bounds and hauling the reception.
Leslie's 5th catch, good for 13 yards. 1st and 10 from the 20. Carter. Flag is down, and he threw the ball away. Wait for the penalty marker. Was it holding on the Aggies?
Looks like it.
Carter had a lot of extra time. 1:38 to go here in Baltimore. Upset alert. Morgan State up 22-13.
Offense, number 74.
And they get the hold.
10-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
Holding penalty on the left guard, Simpson.
Yeah, he got a nice right arm in there and just kind of grabbed him with both. Kind of hugged him a little bit. But sometimes quarterbacks scramble and they put their linemen in bad situations to where what was a great block turns into a hold because the guy turns around quickly. So I think that was more of that situation than the guy just flat out holding.
Simpson on the hold, the East Kentucky transfer. Again going to the front pylon. It's the 3rd or 4th time they went that way, this time looking for Elijah Bell, and Carter's pass incomplete.
They're almost daring Khalil Carter to go deep down the field. He's been going to that left side a lot, man, and big number 99 once again making himself known, and Nathan Perry getting a nice little shot right there on Carter.
NP, Nathan Perry, a couple tackles for a loss, had that interception, the first interception of the game when he picked off Carter. He's played big 99. They found a guy there. They found a guy. 2nd down. Here's Carter. Passes low and incomplete. Was looking for Banks, but threw it to the turf. So that was on Carter that time. Incomplete pass. Didn't reach it to Corey Banks.
Yeah, it looked like he second-guessed his decision after he threw it, so he kind of short on that throw because he was right there open. Banks had an opportunity to make the guy miss, but the ball just didn't come out Carter's arm properly. 3rd and 20.
3rd and 20. Ruiz, the kicker, longest field goal, has 52-yarder. They need points and they need the ball back. So no matter how they look at it, this is a big 3rd down. 3rd and 20 for Carter. Ball is incomplete over the outstretched arms of Leslie, who had it in his hands. He jumped. Leslie's 6'3", but it was a little too high for Leslie to come down with, and now a 4th down and decision time for Coach Washington.
Yes, an easy decision. You need 9 points, so why not get the 3 here? He's sitting on his field goal team. I thought Leslie had an opportunity for that, but it was a little bit too high.
Yeah, and you have a great kicker.
Yeah, so exactly. You said his long is 52.
52, yep.
It's about a 46-yarder right here, so it's well within his range.
Noel Ruiz, who has a couple of field goals here today, again has the single-season record for the most field goals in the season. So this is a 46-yarder. His longest is a 52-yarder. Ruiz's kick is good from 46. It's things a little closer for North Carolina A&T, but they still need some points, and they're going to need the ball back. It's a 22-16 game after Ruiz's field goal with 1:20 to go. Morgan State looking for their 2nd win of the season, their 2nd win for new head coach Tyrone Wheatley, and back-to-back wins, upset wins over North Carolina A&T, but there's still some football to be played. 1:20 to go.
You talk about a guy that just got it over the crossbar. not much room to spare, maybe about a yard and a half away from it not being good. But great clutch kick by Noel Ruiz. A lot of people joke about college kickers. The Aggies have one they could depend on that's clutch, and he proved it right there on that field goal. Now, if you're Morgan State, you have to stay cognizant of where this ball bounces, have to recognize that it only has to go 10 yards before you can touch it. So you are free to not touch that football. We'll see what Ruiz has in store for this onside kick.
Well, that drive was 11 plays, 31 yards, and 153 off the clock, ended with a 46-yarder. Ruiz with 3 field goals. Field goal from 34. Ruiz also had a field goal from 28, and that last one from 46. So 3 for 3 on field goals, and he's in the spotlight here on the kick. Morgan State will take a timeout to talk things over.
They wanted to see how A&T was going to come out and set up their onside opportunity so they can draw up a better plan to help grab that football.
So now timeouts, 1 for Morgan and 1 for A&T with 1:20 to go.
You're A&T, I think the best strategy when you're trying to kick an onside kick is to kick a line drive. Find a guy that you can pinpoint to being nervous and kick that ball straight to him and hope it bounces off of him, and now you have a live scramble for the ball.
Shake-up Saturday continues. Delaware State and Bethune-Cookman, they're at the half in the MEAC with Delaware State. The Hornets with a 16-6 lead over Bethune-Cookman. South Carolina State up big over Howard, 55-14. Norfolk State has a 17-7 lead. Start of the third quarter against North Carolina Central, and scores around the MEAC today. But we're focused in on this one. It'll be back-to-back years for upset wins for Morgan State. Here's the onside kick. Who has it?
It looked like A&T got it. No one from Morgan State. They just allowed that ball to bounce.
It went 10 yards. And who has the football?
I thought A&T jumped on that football.
There's still a fight for it down on the bottom of that pile. It went 12 yards, and Coach Washington saying that his team has it. But I'm waiting for one of the officials to tell me who has it, because they're still fighting for that football. And Troy Singleton and his crew talking things over, figuring out who has it. Still not a sign yet of who has the football. Now Morgan State believes they have it, but
well, no one came up with the ball, so we don't know who has the ball.
Walfolk has the ball, 83.
Okay.
He's holding that football. See, he has the football there in his hands. But Mr. Singleton and that staff, referee staff, have to talk things over.
The ruling on the field, ball recovered by White. First down, North Carolina A&T.
Whoa! Aggies have the football on the onside kick.
Yeah, watch this. No one from Morgan State stepped back to get the ball, and right there, 3 Aggies around the football. Yeah, that's A&T's football. Morgan State stepped up to block, and there was no one that followed them to really be there to fall on that football. So now you put your defense back out there if you're Morgan State. You have to get a stop down. If you're A&T, this is exactly how you drew it up. This is what you wanted on this opportunity. You got 3 previously on the drive, and now you have an opportunity to get 6 with a touchdown.
Last time North Carolina A&T lost more than one MEAC game in a season was 2014. And 1 loss this year to FAMU. This could be their second in MEAC play. Or they could win this game. 1:18 to go. Down 22-16. Carter throws it. Incomplete. Pressure was coming, and Carter had to get rid of it.
Malachi Washington once again playing spy and just turned it on once he saw Carter get outside the pocket and accelerated to his midsection to make that a tougher throw.
It's been 10 on 10 most of the day. Washington wears 10, Carter wears 10. 1:11 to go. Carter, far sideline, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Bell. Bell doesn't drop many, but he dropped that one.
Yeah, and that one kind of got on him pretty fast. He got one arm up.
Garnes was on coverage.
And that was right at the sticks, too. Would have been a first down.
Tyrone Wheatley looking for a signature win. This would be his signature win in his first season as the new head coach. 5 different coaches in the last 7 years here at Morgan State. And here we go. 3rd and 10. Carter, pressure, sacked! Down he goes! Second sack of the game for the Morgan State defense. And who else? He had the big interception, and Rico Kennedy has the big sack.
So excellent job right there, just staying relentless. You saw him push, pull, and rip to get past that right tackle for the sack. Excellent job by Rico Kennedy.
Rico Kennedy, the leading tackler in the MEAC, 3rd in the conference in tackle for a loss. The heart of this football team, the guy that wears all those hats, as we mentioned before. And who else would you want to make a big play for the defense than that man? Because he wants to get this win. He was there last year when it happened at North Carolina A&T. He wants to see it happen here in his final year at Morgan State.
That's a great technical job out there on the corner. You saw the push explode to the chest of the lineman, pull him back towards you, and then rip. He used his own momentum against him, got back there and got the sack. Now it's 4th and 17. You have 2 options. Either play the sticks or you send pressure. Don't let Carter sit back there and have all day to throw.
Well, there's been stuff happening that usually doesn't happen in North Carolina A&T. They came into this game. Carter only had 1 interception all season. He has 2 today. All season, they've only given up 10 sacks all season. Carter's been sacked twice today. Nice. So that's how good that Morgan State defense is playing. Here we go, 57 seconds to go. 4th down for Carter and the Aggies. This is the ball game. Incomplete. Morgan State is going to pull the upset for the 2nd straight year. Washington takes his helmet off, and a lot of the Morgan State Bears taking their time getting back to the sidelines in celebration of a signature victory.
Yeah, it's a good job by the offensive line giving Carter time, but there was nowhere to go deep down the field, and Carter just had to get rid of it as the pocket started to collapse a little bit, as Malachi Washington started to come again with that pressure. He just dumped it off short. Incomplete. Bears just get the win.
Taunting penalty, and I think Coach Wheatley's heading to the player that was taunting. And they're having that conversation right down there on the 30-yard line. Gatling was the one that was called for the taunting call, and Coach Wheatley, I just saw Coach Wheatley's face light up, and he strolled from down to the 40 to the opposite side, and he wanted to get after Gatling for that. But the celebration continues. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Gatling. Celebrate. This is a huge win for Morgan State. This is a huge win for Coach Wheatley. This is the win they had last year. They couldn't keep things going. Last year, a 4-win season, but that was the highlight, the win at North Carolina A&T, knocking off the Aggies, ending their 15-game win streak, and beating them for the 2nd time in as many years.
It's an unbelievable game for that quarterback right there, DeAndre Harris. If I had to give a game ball, it would be to Harris, because he played the best game he could have played at the quarterback position, 70% completion percentage. He also led the team in rushing, so he did all he had to do to will his team to victory.
How about Coach Washington? He's been outstanding in his 2 years, but he wants no part of Morgan. He's 0-2 against Morgan State, is Coach Washington. And Harris, you're right. We said one of the things, how can Morgan State win games? They need better quarterback play, and they got great quarterback play today. Deontay Harris, 14 of 20, 218 yards, and a touchdown. Bailey with 7 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown. The defense was phenomenal. They did their job, and Morgan State pulls the upset, knocking off one of the top teams in the FCS and the #1 team in the MEAC. The final score, 22-16. Wow. For my partner, the czar of the playbook, Emery Hunt, I'm Phil Shaner saying so long from Hughes Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, where your final score, Morgan State gets the 22-16 win. Thank you for watching the MEAC Digital Network. This has been a presentation of ESPN.